Good morning, it's Monday, June 9th, 8:30 a.m. and we are here with Tom Gaines for a Central Services update.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'll get to that. I've given you all a traffic control plan on the roundabout, but I'll get to that in a moment. So just so you know what's sitting up there. On consent this week, JCTS has two different purchase orders. They are both annual renewals, one for Smart Draw and one for Granicus Smart Connect that is used by Development Services. I do have a single walk-on, but I will likely have a second. One is a contract with Ellensburg Fence. This is the perimeter fencing at South Field in the amount of $88,300.40. They signed the contract and got it back to me on Friday, which is why I didn't have it by the deadline. And JM Pacific, who is going to be performing the ADA pathway and pavement repairs, that contract is valued at $13,380.56, and they've said that they're going to have that signed and back to me today. Both of those are work that we would like to get started and completed at the fairgrounds with plenty of time prior to fair. I did just find out that we do have a meeting scheduled with Tom Dent on Friday the 27th. We're going to walk around the fairgrounds, just do a fairgrounds tour, talk about different stuff. So any of you are available on the 27th, want to hang out with me and Jim and Tom Dent, we will be at the fairgrounds. The annexation, was all done and complete, and I was working with the city to try and figure out, okay, that changes the tax rate for everything that we pay because it's no longer county, it's the city. So I instructed LIDEG. I finally got a date from the city as to when it's effective. And so I let LIDEG know, hey, you have to charge us the new sales tax rate. So we paid one of our invoices, and now we're going to get a refund from LIDEG. It turns out that the Department of Revenue has stated that EFRADA missed the filing cutoff date for this tax rate, and it won't go into effect until January of 2026.
Oh, perfect.
So even though we're annexed, we're still paying a lower tax rate.
Yeah, typically you send it to Department of Revenue. Department of Revenue has to notify those that are impacted by the change.
Well, and I thought that the city would be able to tell me when they did the annexation, when, and they said, well, it becomes effective the minute it's filed, and apparently that's not the case. So we won't be paying the new tax rate until January, and we did pay one bill, and LIDEG will be refunding that different tax rate. So that's great news. Since I'm on the jail, I'll continue on the jail, and then I'll get to the coroner's office. So the roundabout is out for bid. Washington State Department of Transportation is working diligently with us on its full approval. They have indicated that they are behind us closing the highway completely and completing the work much faster. In talking to the various companies that are bidding, that we know are bidding the project, as they talked about doing half the roundabout at a time or just closing the highway down completely, they're talking about a 3 to 4 week difference in what it would take to get that thing completed. So when we met with the DOT last week, surprisingly, without any pushback, they were fully behind completely shutting down State Route 282 for the duration of the construction. And they had a copy of this traffic control plan. So on the sheet that I have on your table, you can see the route, the detour that's going to be on Airport Road over to 5th Avenue, Nat Washington Way, the ways to get back and forth to Walmart and Dollar Tree. We've got the only detour here that will work that does not impact any other businesses except the taco stand. American Rock Products still has access to the highway and get around. And currently our traffic engineer is running dual vehicle turning tests at all of the intersections, making sure that two semis can turn in opposite directions at the same time and get through the intersections. That was about the only concern that the DOT had. Where I have temporary access highlighted is the utility easement that's 20 feet wide that it's not going to take very much work, but we're going to gravel that and make that temporary access for contractors, alternative access for the few residents that live near the taco stand and the taco stand. The residents do get mail delivery, so we're gonna be notifying the post office that they're gonna have to reroute that, their mail delivery for, 8 weeks. And I'll also let the fire department know that in case there's a call out for an emergency, that there's gonna be a different route to get to those homes. The only thing that leaves us is the taco stand, because they're not gonna have any business. There's not gonna be any way for the public to get there. Blair had mentioned that he knows the owners, and I asked him last week to reach out to those owners, and if in fact they're the owners, trying to set up a meeting and talk to them about what that looks like and how the county can help. It's, becomes part of the project. So that is going along pretty well, and we're really happy with the response of the DOT. That, we can, if we start the week after July 4th, we'll have it done in 8 weeks versus 9 to 12, so, or 12 weeks. Any questions about that? I'll start doing updates on Facebook. Once we know for sure that that's going to happen, once the turning tests are done and the DOT fully buys off on it, we know that that's what's going to happen. We'll probably get a reader board out there on the highway that says upcoming construction, the week of July 5th, and start posting on Facebook and let the Columbia Basin Herald know, and start putting out all the, trying to reach everybody we can and let them know about this detour, because it's going to be a pain, and people are going to be angry, but it is the fastest way to get it done, and it's actually going to save us quite a bit of money. So if you have any questions before we get any further on that, please let me know. We'll see what happens.
Can we get the map by email?
Yes. Yeah, I'll send it to you. I've been asking Craig, I'm going to move to the morgue. I've been asking Craig for some time as we've gone through this deal. Once we decided to walk away from the hospital, we had hoped that we would find some land and build a coroner's office and have it completed before the hospital closed. But as it continued, it became apparent that we weren't going to be able to do that. And I've been asking him for quite a while, and I'm not casting any blame or trying to poke anybody in the neck, but it's part of a bigger issue. If he had interlocal agreements set up with various coroner's offices so that while the hospital was closed, he'd have a way to operate. He was under the impression, after a comment from Commissioner Carter, he was under the impression that the hospital would not kick him out. And he said, well, Commissioner Carter said that.
Well, they may, when I've talked to him, but I have not confirmed that with.
I know.
Side conversation.
Yeah, exactly. And all I'm pointing out is a kind of a communications deal here that didn't go very well. So I told him, I said, well, I just heard from the hospital this week that the lights are getting turned off on March 7th.
Okay, so they are.
And there's not going to be anybody in there. There's nobody to operate the building. There's no way to keep the building open. So
next year.
Yeah, March 7th. And so
might be close.
Yeah, we won't be done. So there's going to be a period of time that he is not going to be able to operate. This created something new. So I think he's grappling with the gravity of it now. And I asked him, I said, well, what was your plan? And the hospital wants to know his plan as well. And he said, I have agreements with Snohomish, Thurston, Benton, and Spokane counties. He goes, but they can't take our caseloads. I figured as I got a case that I needed to take care of, I would, rotate through those one at a time. And I said, well, is that going to work? How many do you have? He goes, well, I don't know what I'm going to do about Douglas, Adams, Lincoln, and Kittitas. I go, why are we worried about those? He goes, because we handle all of their deaths. I said, what?
No, only if there's.
And I go, have you notified them? And he goes, no. And I said, well, you might want to notify them that we have to figure out how to take care of these. And the bigger question is, it came up last year when we were at that, I can't remember with that dinner that we were at, Rob. It was a leadership dinner over in that hotel off I-90 and Tom Dent. Yeah, and Judy Warnick were there. And when we first talked about the coroner's office, Tom Dent had asked, he said, hey, is that going to be regional? And it seems like it already is.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware that we were doing that. And as we're
I think
now,
it's only the autopsies
Okay.
that, because
They bring
there's
the
not,
autopsies too.
yeah,
there's not a whole lot of places that can handle the autopsies, so
right.
when we do get reimbursed, I think it
Yeah.
actually is a revenue source.
Well, it's something that I need to talk to Craig about, and something we should think about, or that the board should think about.
So when you did get a letter from the hospital that they are not gonna.
They
let the
contacted me in an email last week. Joe Kunkel contacted me and said, I'm very concerned about not just the invoices, the unpaid invoices deal, but the operating parameters for the morgue. The lights are going off on March 7th. We're not going to be taking care of the building, and it's going to be empty. Does the coroner have an operating plan? So that's what I'm trying to get Craig to put together so that we can notify the hospital, but he also needs to notify these other counties, and it didn't sound to me like he had. So hopefully he
No, and
has.
I think this is kind of news to me as well. So I think we probably, they were working at getting somebody to take over that building. They obviously, I don't know if they're gonna tear it down, what they're gonna do, so.
I don't know what they're gonna do.
Maybe reach out and see if they can turn everything else off except for.
Well, I don't know how they do that, and we can't just take it over as a maintenance department and keep an entire hospital operating for a small corner of it. There's a lot more going on there than just lights. So I don't know what we're gonna do there. I'll talk to Joe and find out what Joe Kunkel. But that's gonna, of course, dovetail into the larger picture with the unpaid invoices and all that stuff. So
Do any of those other counties have a place for him to do that work?
It's
They
the
just
coroner, or the person who does the autopsies. That's the only reason we have it, because they come down from Tri-Cities to do it. And they can do several of them at a time if they need to do it. That's the issue. Otherwise, they've got to drive the body to Spokane. I think it's Spokane.
So offices that are medical examiner offices, or some coroner's office, I guess, I don't know, they have forensic pathologists hired. So my understanding was there was only one in the state. I didn't realize that these specific counties actually had them on staff. So my understanding was that whenever you did an autopsy, regardless, if the forensic pathologist was coming to Grant County, then people would send their bodies there, and that's how that would get taken care of. But if you had to have it done right now and that pathologist was in Snohomish, well, then you would transport the body there. I didn't know until about a month ago that there were actual forensic pathologists hired full-time on staff at Spokane, probably King County, and who else knows where. But so that is the issue, though. That is a major issue for all these other coroner's offices that don't have that on staff. So I think Craig I think he was hit with the gravity of the situation. I'm certainly concerned about it. Hopefully he's coming up with a plan to
We've
take
talked
care
about it for months.
to take care of business while we're trying to get this office built. So, and I can move as quickly as I can, but it only moves so quickly through the bureaucratic process that we have. So
Right.
Getting the GCCM designation is certainly going to help it move faster. We will definitely get it faster than if we had to go out to bid and do a low bid deal. But we've still got this, according to Craig, major regional disruption. And when he phrased it that way, I was like, wait a minute, we aren't a regional morgue, but apparently we are.
For autopsy.
So next time and I don't know if you have an update with him this week, but you may touch base with him. And I know that I'm going to do everything I can on my end to get a coroner's office up and running as quickly as we can. But I don't know what he's going to do. So that's what's going on with the coroner. The HRCS building's coming along well. There have been a few change orders, and I'll likely need I don't know if I'm going to need a budget extension or not. I hope to have budget meeting with the board on that specific project next week. I'm going to talk about that, and I was going to give the board a mid-year update on all of the central services departments. All of them are doing pretty well. Central services, facilities, TS, all of our capital projects are all going really well. So it's kind of a mid-year update, though, to show you where we are on our budgets. And I'm going to do that next week. I do anticipate receiving the historic grant funds back finally, and that I'm going to take those and apply them towards, I'd already worked with Mandy, we'll apply those towards the CS building, and I'm thinking that's going to offset any budget extension I would have had to have gotten. And I think that's about all I have. So not a huge update, pretty quick. I don't know if you guys have got any questions. I know tomorrow we'll do a maintenance and TS update. So I'll just wait till tomorrow for the rest of it. Any questions for me?
No questions for me.
I don't, right at the moment.
All right. Cindy?
No, we just wanna, do
Okay.
you think it has something to do with our hospital bill that's not paid?
No, no, but we need to get to the, so again, do you want me to try and schedule a meeting next week in here? Do you want me to just try and meet with Teresa myself and tell her where we're at? I mean, or I can just do it with Joe Kunkel and say, let's get together and have lunch, show them that email,
I
tell them
think
where we're at.
I'd meet with Teresa.
Yeah, last week or the week before when we talked about it,
Yeah.
you and I were going to meet with her.
I just need a date and time, so. If you want to do that, I'm all about that, and I'll get it set up. I just need to have the clerks work with you on your calendar so that I can provide
See
some
if we
dates.
could do the 18th.
Okay.
Since the 19th, we don't.
Do we have all the information to provide?
So the 19th is
Juneteenth.
Juneteenth, so the county will be closed.
Well, you probably are gonna be home then.
Well, I mean, if that's the only day, that's the only day. I don't care.
Do
Juneteenth
something.
isn't a,
When would you like me to do it, Cindy?
Well, I just don't wanna run Tom's.
Are you gonna be off next week then, Tom?
no, I'm not off next week. I'm off this week. I'm here Monday, Tuesday this week. I'm taking some days this week.
And then, so you won't be here on the 18th?
No, I'll be here on the 18th. Thursday, the 18th,
No, that's Wednesday.
or Wednesday? Oh, yes.
Thursday is
The
19th.
19th,
Yep.
so you probably, I'm just assuming.
No, well, I don't even care. I'll do it on the 19th. I don't care, but
I don't wanna do the 19th.
Okay.
I'm just saying I could do the 18th.
sure.
Before that happens.
Yeah.
I mean, I can do the 18th, 19th, 20th. So,
I'm good with any of those days.
I mean, the 18th I figure is a normal business
Yeah.
day. I have EDC in the morning.
Why don't we shoot for the 18th?
So we can do it anytime on the 18th.
Okay, all right. I'll email Joe as soon as I get back to my office.
Works for me.
And then I'm just curious on the next phase of the hospital, if she'll tell you what the next phase is, if they're really gonna just lock it up.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been in communication with Joe too much. I know he's been super busy. He's also the project manager for the Quincy Hospital, which I think they opened now, or, so that thing went really fast.
Is it possible to do just a room for the coroner's office and focus on just one area and then worry about the rest of the building?
I'll ask
Is that
Joe
possible?
what, you know, I don't know what they're willing to do or what they can do.
I mean, as far as the new building, because we've got till what, March?
Yeah. Well, it's
On
gonna,
the coroner's, the new coroner's office.
I mean, we wouldn't be able to get occupancy or anything like that without doing the whole thing. So we wouldn't be able to, you know. Now maybe one option is if I can get, why don't I try and do this? If I can get power on the site, which should be absolutely no problem.
It's there, yeah.
Why don't I, and we have more than enough space, they have those mobile classrooms or the mobile, you know, maybe we can get something like that.
So gonna need coolers and
Yeah, they have,
Yeah.
that's where I'm The hospital said that I'm just really surprised, but it was not Joe Kunkel. So I'm just
Well-
surprised that they said they would work with us.
Yeah.
But I
Well,
don't know if that's something to do with.
I'll ask Joe. I don't know if it has anything to do with that or not, but I'll ask Joe what the
I'm surprised
options
they're
are
gonna-
there.
March, there's usually no freeze, but every now and then we have had a snowstorm in March, first part of March. Maybe they're draining all their pipes. It's just hard to turn off water and everything on.
Yeah, I mean, are they gonna winterize that whole building?
I don't know what they're gonna do.
Or, because usually once you cut heat.
Yeah.
That's when things start deteriorating really fast.
Well, you've got a physical plant for that hospital, right? And once they move to the new hospital, that's what they're maintaining, right? They've moved out. They don't have, unless, I don't know what their plan is. I don't know.
I think they're trying to get some, like a behavioral health or some organizations to take it over.
I haven't heard any that are going to do that though,
Yeah.
No, I think they need state and federal funding for that.
which is all being cut, so.
Okay. Well, that's what I've got today.
Nothing else?
Nothing
Any
else.
questions for Tom?
No, thank you.
Thank you, Tom. We'll go into recess until 9 a.m. and we're back with development services. Good morning, it's 9 a.m. and we are here with Jim Anderson Cook for our development services update.
Good morning, Commissioners. Happy Monday. So brief agenda today, but received an email over the weekend, another complaint about a transient residence. This one is our file number TR 2400050 for applicant name is James Burton. Site address is 4223 Edwards Drive Northeast in Moses Lake, just off of West Shore. Thought it'd be a good opportunity to talk with the board about transient residences and the conditional use permit process. This particular file is going to hearing next Wednesday. No, excuse me, it's going to hearing this Wednesday on the 9th. I printed conditions of approval from another CUP for a transient residence, just so the board is aware of what the standard conditions of approval are, in case you thought maybe there was some that you'd like to see changed or possibly even added. These are the standard conditions, ones that we've used for years now, in an attempt to hopefully try to keep these things controlled. This particular residence has received numerous noise complaints going all the way back into last year. So I'll run through the conditions real quick, and let's just have a discussion. So obviously, guest stays will be limited to less than 30 days. Transient residents shall be subject to requirements of Grant County Code 1503, which that is the fire marshal code. Transient residents shall be subject to taxes per RCW 6437020. Transient residents shall be subject to the consumer safety requirements of RCW 6437030. Transient residents shall hold and maintain liability insurance coverage per RCW 6437050. The transient residents shall be operated in a way that will prevent unreasonable disturbance to area residents. Easier said than done. But here's how we try to do that on the next one. The applicant shall post on site and distribute to residences in the neighborhood of which the property sits the name and telephone number of a 24-hour contact who may be contacted in the event there are complaints regarding the use of the property. The applicant shall ensure that this contact immediately address the complaint. Hearing examiners adamant about that particular condition. So in the case of this resident, and the numerous complaints that we've received about this property already, I know that Mr. Burton has a local cleaning service that they use to turn this over, and it's very often that they appoint the cleaning service to be this person that can respond. So I don't remember the name of the complainant this weekend, but, should there be, a party going, and, noise and all that kind of thing, the expectation would be that they would call, and that whoever Mr. Burton has appointed would go and deal with the complaint in the moment. Obviously, we have the ability to revoke the conditional use permit. And then enforce as well. So, condition 8, no public or private events are allowed on site, such as weddings, conferences, parties, or similar events without additional permitting. The applicant shall comply with all local and state noise and nuisance regulations. This transient residence conditional use permit is issued to the applicant and does not run with the land. So, that's a big one. It's again issued to the actual applicant. It's not, something that's attached to the house. We need one ADA stall, no outdoor advertisements. Operation of a transient residence requires an annual operating permit issued by the fire marshal's office. And then, of course, if the permit expires for a period of 1 or more years, if an annual operation permit expires for a period of 1 year or more, and/or the transient residence ceases to operate as a short-term rental for a period of 1 or more years, the dwelling loses its nonconformity status and shall fully comply with the commercial hospitality requirements found in UDC 2308-220 as a new use. So basically what that says is a commercial hospitality establishment transient residence is required to be sprinkled. This home is not sprinkled. So it's a bit of a pass, so to speak. We're waiving the requirement for a sprinkler system because it has operated as an existing non-conforming in the past. If they go without a fire marshal operating permit for that year, they lose that non-conformity. They would have to sprinkle the house effectively is what that means. And then a blanket condition, any uses for the subject parcel beyond the scope of this permit application will require additional review and may require additional permitting from Grant County Development Services. So, any questions on those? Anything that we missed?
Will the hearings examiner know? It sounds like there's more than 6 people that occupy this residence because the vehicle limit exceeds that.
Yeah, so what happens is, when we send these out for review, the health district is also a reviewing party. And what they're looking for is they're looking for a number of legally established bedrooms. And then they will limit the guests to 2 per bedroom. So this was permitted as a 3-bedroom residence, so they will be limited to 6. And he's adamant about that. It will be listed in the condition on the CUP. Parking will be limited as well. So, and then the advertising on Airbnb and VRBO will be limited also. So, and that's what the fire marshal's office does, is we police that, so to speak. So he'll be issued a conditional use permit that will have all of these conditions. You're going to, let somebody know who to call when there's noise. You shall not list it, make it available for greater than 6 people. You will not have more than 2 cars on site.
What's the address on this? I know you.
This one is 4223 Edwards Drive. Now, they obviously, we can't be there on the weekend, but
Well, but somebody should be able to answer.
right.
Does he have a property manager currently?
So in his application, so we ask for a narrative and an operations plan. And I misspoke, this is a 5-bedroom home. So it will be allowed to have 10 occupants, and he does not have a property management company. He is using a house cleaner. Neighborhood impact in his application, with the use of this home being typical of a family residence, the neighborhood impact is minimal. Guests are to use the property home as a place to sleep, eat, socialize, and enjoy the yard. Additional traffic to the home will be the cleaners in between guests. Quiet hours are also posted within the home to minimize noise outside of normal hours. The home is posted as not allowing greater than 15 guests. Also, parties are not permitted. There are four spaces for cars to park on the property, as well as additional parking on the street in front of the home. There are 3 large trash cans to account for excess garbage from guests with weekly service. So again, all of those would be, this is in the application, this is his wish list. All of this will be conditioned down. 5 legal bedrooms will be throttled back to 10 guests. He's got four parking spaces. That'll be throttled down to 3, very likely 3, maybe 4. But the big thing will be, posting that telephone number with somebody that can respond to the noise complaints.
Who planning?
So parcel number 12-0683-395. We have received complaints from.
Across the street.
Yeah.
And over one house. Are there complaints that they're just being loud?
Didn't really specify.
Or is it just the fact that somebody's making money off their house that lives on the lake?
No, I think they are taking a lot of parking. This is the same one. Oh, I meant, okay. Let's try it again. He has no idea how many people are arriving at his residence. He is an absentee owner. There have been as many as 20 people at a time, loud parties, and often more than 11 cars, boats, trucks, all having a negative impact on our residential neighborhood.
There's one of the emails from back in
Parties
December.
are not permitted.
This is the gal right next door. I can understand that.
She's speaking on behalf of herself and the parcel owner that I gave you.
Okay, there's 4 spaces for cars and parking in front of the home. There's been as many as 11 to 15 cars, residential vehicles, boats, trailers, U-Haul trucks, parking all over the street, and often parking on the sidewalk. And he has a limited number of guests. He does not limit them, though. Minute. So there's more than one neighbor complaining?
There's 2. Yeah, there's 2. Neighbor across the street and a neighbor right next door. we found that the condition, that 1.7, our hearings examiner hears for a number of jurisdictions, and that condition 1.7 was one that he pulled from Chelan County, which, of course, transient residences are, there's a lot of them, obviously, in Leavenworth and Wenatchee. And he found that one was pretty effective and worked well. We didn't have that condition prior to 2024.
Which one did you say?
1.7, where you're required to post the,
24 hour.
post the number and have somebody
Outside?
respond. What's that?
Where do they post it?
Within the house.
And then the neighbors have it.
Yeah, and then the neighbors have it as well. And then this complainant had emailed and requested a commissioner attend the hearing, and that I wouldn't advise. So I'll be at the hearing on Wednesday. Amon is the project planner for all of these transient residences. And I'll let the applicant know that we normally wouldn't recommend that be the case. Any other
No, thank you for following
conditions?
up on this.
Yeah, you bet. Any other conditions that you think that we should add?
I mean, if they're following this, a lot of conditions.
Yeah.
24-hour contact should fix all of that, in my opinion. If
And
you're having
that's-
an issue, are they calling the 24-hour contact?
I-
And then if there is no follow through on the 24-hour contact, then there's issue.
Right.
So,
And that's why I bring it up, is it seems to be the most effective way to keep these things under control. We've never, ever had, knock on wood, we've never, since installing that condition, ever had any complaints. The complaints that we have are ones that haven't gone through the conditional use permit process and have these conditions put in place. So we're hoping that after the hearing on Wednesday, this hopefully takes care of it for the neighborhood. So we've had a surprisingly large amount of transient residences come into compliance this year, more than we expected. So it's been a good thing. So in any event, that's all I wanted to talk about this morning. So if you have any other questions for me?
Just gonna see if I can figure out where they're listing this and make sure that it's,
Well, they did have it, I just pulled it up.
Oh, where they have it listed for rent?
I'm surprised there's a lot of them that are sold out.
That are,
If you just
Right.
type in VRBO and then that address.
Yeah, a lot of them are sold out. It's crazy.
yeah, in the pictures, I couldn't tell. It looks like they have a boat that's available as well. So looks like it's pretty popular.
Is this the only one you're having problems with? At least for now?
Yeah, for now, yeah. When we receive complaints, and it's rare, we do send them to the file so that when they do eventually apply for their conditional use permit or a planning permit, we can address them at the time of hearing. And so this one, he applied back in November of 2024. And so we had saved all of the email complaints. We're just now getting him to hearing. So, but I can think of maybe 2 or 3 other residences, but those are down in Sunland. Nothing in Moses Lake proper. This is the only one on West Shore that anybody's complained about. So there's
It
not.
says that it sleeps 15, 5-bedroom, 3 baths, sleeps 15, 3,200 square feet, parking available. Parking. Bonus room. Bedroom 5 has 2 queen beds and 2 double beds, so they pack everybody into one.
Yeah, so what'll happen is, again, he'll go to hearing, and the hearings examiner will validate that he has 5 legally established bedrooms. He will establish that there will only be 2 guests allowed per bedroom, so his occupancy will be conditioned to 10. He'll establish the parking to support that occupant load, which likely will be 4. And then the applicant will be required to modify the posting to reflect what he's been conditionally approved for. Now, so after the CUP's been issued, the fire marshal will then he'll make an application to the fire marshal's office for his operating permit, and then that operating permit gets updated annually. So after he makes the application for his operating permit, they'll go out and do an inspection and make sure that everything is up to code, so to speak, and complies with Grant County 1503. And the fire marshal's office then periodically checks that VRBO listing to make sure that they are still in compliance with the number of occupants that they've been conditionally approved for. And if and our software has the ability to track every time you make a change, and it keeps a log of that. So let's say he, goes in and after hearing, he's like, fine, I'm going to change it. I'm going to throttle it down to 10. And then we issue the operating permit, we go away, and then he kicks it back up to 15. We will then obviously send him a letter and say, hey, you're in violation. We can revoke your operating permit. He'll go, fine, take it back down to 10 again. We can send him a snapshot of that history, so, and it will also alert us too. So we can set it up so that those type of events, those type of changes, we'll get an email notification. So that has happened already, where people, have been throttled back, so to speak, and then comply, and then make the change, and then think that nobody's paying attention, and we are.
Well, it could be a great thing, but when it starts destroying a neighborhood, it's not.
No, I understand. I definitely understand. I mean, it's where as an operator, you probably want to choose your customers. I wouldn't want my house tore up. So, but in any event. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Well, thank you for looking into this. Okay. And I did forward it to Rob and Kevin. Okay. Copy the email.
Thanks, Jim. We'll go into recess now until 9:30 when we're back for Commissioner Office Update. Good morning. It's 9:30 a.m. and we are here for Commissioner's Office Update.
Good morning, everyone. First, as always, the pending decision spreadsheet.
Barb.
Okay, this week's public hearings. None this week?
I don't think so. No, officially
No,
no.
we have no hearings this week. And review of your meeting. Do you have any questions regarding your meetings?
I mean, our personal meetings, or all of our?
All of them. All of the above?
All of the above.
Yes.
I don't have it.
You have a department head review tomorrow. Okay, if you don't have any questions about that. Event permit routing process. So I forwarded this along with the agenda last week for your review for today. So I wanted to make sure that you saw this and what the county engineer had put together for this office to manage. So is this do you need a meeting with all the departments for all of this that's supposed to happen? So,
I think we need a refresher on it, honestly, Barb, because the event permit was literally like a 2023 deal.
right. Because it says that staff here, Caitlin and I am assuming, is gonna receive completed applications and then the $200 fee. And where are you wanting us to deposit the money? And then Caitlin and I will send it to the fire marshal, public health, environmental health, community development, and public works for comments and conditions. So then Caitlin and I will have to manage those that are being sent out for a 5-day comment period. And then the commissioners will sign the permit with conditions of approval. So I know that what part of this said that 60 days prior to the event. And is that going to be on the commissioner's website? I don't know what your intent was when you approved that. So the special event
Process, it's
application.
because we're having, like rodeos.
We're having all those Hispanic rodeos with no permits,
And we were
alcohol,
trying to
guns,
Get
and
it,
it's been 2 years,
are they still having them? They just don't complain?
probably, without hearing any complaints. But that was a development services thing. That's why it's odd that Public Works put it together and then sent it to you guys. So I think we probably need to, we need to send it to Jim and then talk to Jim about it.
I believe we did send it to Jim.
Did he respond?
No.
Because it was before
Because
he
it's
was in
gonna
that
be-
position.
No, sorry, we just sent it to Jim 2 weeks ago. It was right after the commissioners approved it on consent when we had sent it to Jim, but then he was out sick for his update last week but we can follow up with him.
Would you like a meeting with all of the parties that are supposed to be involved in this?
I don't honestly think we're to that point, Barb. Like,
Yeah,
literally, it was 2023.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about it since 2023.
that's why I was surprised when the board
And
approved
it's not
it.
even the department that was
Yeah.
involved, as far as I remember.
Right.
It was mainly Chris and prosecuting attorney and Daryl. So
'Cause there's a lot of stuff that needs to be filled out for it. And we'll do what the board directs, so
Will you resend it to me?
I sent it Thursday or Friday
Okay,
as part of our agenda.
I haven't looked for it yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to clarify, HR, we have a meeting with HR then on Wednesday, because I showed on this is the first I've seen it on this, but I don't show it on my calendar.
You're talking about the compensation? Meeting?
This says employee performance review with HR 2 to 2:30 on
The-
Wednesday, June 11th.
It's what,
It's just Kevin only.
And Barb.
It's for our own staff. So that's supposed to be on just Kevin's calendar. I stuck it on the BOCC one so that because we're gonna be in the hearing room. It's not on the agenda because it's not
Okay, so
for
I
the
can
board.
cross this off.
Yes.
I mean, I just,
Yes, that's just for Kevin.
Okay.
So the board approved this, so you want us just to hold steady until you let us know
Yeah,
what
I'm emailing him right now.
to do? Okay. We will wait for your direction. We won't post it on the website as it's being approved by the board yet then. It's on the website, but we won't post it as, hey, public, you can go and use this yet, I guess. Is that what you're gonna say?
well, I need to look and see if Public Works published it. I feel like I vaguely remember Kat Bren saying that they had like a placeholder or something on their site for this. I feel like I remember that. I'll look.
Okay, we will just let this,
There, I emailed him.
okay, until you let us know. Perfect. Okay, Miss Caitlin.
Do you have anything BOE?
I know I gave the update last
Okay.
week. Yep.
Okay. I have once again, the LTAC items for kids, really is what it is. We used to have like the little gross green guys that children really liked, but it's for adults, but we can send them to kids also. And right now we don't really have anything that is good for younger generations. And specifically, I know HR has been doing a lot of outreach with high school students. And so we give them like pens and bags and stuff, but I was looking for something maybe just a little more fun that we could give to the younger generations, not just high schoolers, but middle schoolers too. I know we've received postcards in the past from middle school and elementary school and stuff. So one of the things that I was looking at were just like little fidget toys. So we can get fidget spinners. There's like push pop cubes that you can do. Fidget fun blocks, which is just like there's little push poppers and little circles that you can spin and that sort of thing. I brought this up a couple weeks ago. Cindy, you were not here then, and was told to bring it back. So I'm bringing it back now to see if the commissioners had any direction.
You don't have your dancing pony?
Well, you guys said no to that pretty quick.
Well, it's
So-
kinda expensive.
It was expensive. It's a foam horse on the end of a little like metal stick, so you can walk the pony. It's super cute, but they are really expensive.
They're like, what were they for something?
Yeah, they're like $4, really, unless you get into the thousands.
It's
And we
expensive
would
for
not
the
be
kid
doing-
to walk out with it and then throw it away.
yeah, I think if you're gonna do something, get something that they actually keep.
So fidget spinners seem to be the better option in my brain.
Will they allow them? I don't know if they allow them in schools anymore. Full range, I have no idea if it's still, because it was kind of like a.
I know lots of people enjoy fidget spinners, and that would be something that we could give to anybody, really at any age. Which is the real end goal there, is to have something that we could give to everybody, like the little green dudes, you can give those to anybody. And the push pop cubes are the cheapest option. The fidget spinner, I'm pretty close second.
How much are
But-
they?
So for 500 of them, oh, sorry, the fidget spinner is cheaper. 500, it's $1.69 each. And then the push pop cube, it's $1.99 each if you get 500, which is what I was looking at for those.
Do they come flat?
The push pop cubes?
Yeah. just wondered
Probably not. I don't think they would take up very much space though.
Just trying to think of how big that they were.
It doesn't say the
Well, I'm
dimensions
kind of
on
more
this
in line of like a pen
page.
that maybe they can use on their iPad, with the, I don't know, I know people like the crap, but it's just crap and junk and it gets tossed. I don't know, do you guys toss it? Do you keep it? Because I can get it and then like, great,
It depends on the thing.
okay, what it is.
I will be real, a pen I probably would not pick up and keep, but
Because I will use a pen.
fidget spinners or something like that,
Man,
personally, I would hang
keep
on to
a
them.
Tape measure, because I never
Oh,
find
tape
We can
mine.
measures
do-
are
We can do
pretty
mini
basic.
tape measures. I think those are a little pricier.
I do keep a tape measure. I will keep that. Good call, Rob.
Looking at the pictures. What can I never find? Tape measure.
Little pocket knives, if they can't have pocket knives.
Put them back away, then you can find them.
You can get a little
I
mini
bought 10 of
tape
them
measure
and 10
on a key ring.
utility knives because I was getting too angry.
Okay, so utility knives but
For
they're
the
probably a
children.
danger.
Visit Grant County utility knife found at the scene.
But they are always in hot demand. Nail file, I do like nail files.
Throw the chip clips away.
Are these?
Unless
are
they're
these items For
magnetic.
kids or?
I was hoping to find something that we could give to everybody, but something that would be appropriate to give to kids also. 'Cause like I said, right now we've got coffee cups and pens, which you can't really give to a toddler, and
Oh, you're talking little kids.
I would just like to have something that we would have the option to give to
I
them.
do like little stuffed animals, they're pretty, I don't know how expensive.
Stuffed animals do get expensive pretty quick, but Barb and I had talked about maybe not doing stuffed animals since the sheriff's office does them and New Hope Kids Hope does them. We had thought maybe stuffed animals might not be the best route.
It's really hard to get a kid's hope, stuffed animal.
Yeah, you have to
Be,
go through. And the sheriff's office, you have to buy one.
Yes. There are cheaper stuffed animals that you can get that are smaller. We look into that.
Ooh, how about a
Frisbees.
groovy selfie stick?
A groovy selfie stick. It says.
Tennis
with
balls.
reading glasses on.
to some balls. They probably get thrown at somebody.
Tennis ball's not terrible.
Where are you guys at? For some reason it took me to discount box.
I'm in pet supplies.
We order from 4 Imprint.
Or imprint.
Pet bag dispenser.
I like bags, but I don't like those little, I can't even get a lanyard for a penny.
Yeah, custom lanyards are nice to have.
Remember when Tom was gonna order them for us? I can't remember what happened.
Well, that was
Like I
for
said,
all
money.
of us.
Yeah.
He said that the design on them was not great. He went back and forth.
I did some on Amazon
Sunglasses.
myself for some of my stuff because I could lose all my keys. I did hot pink ones with our logos on them. They turned out great.
Chapstick, lip balm is always if you get rid of it within the year.
Carhartt dog coat.
Expensive.
Hudson would appreciate one. Litter scoop.
So what I'm hearing is that you'd like me to research options that are not fidget toys.
It's just me but I
don't see toys.
On 4 Imprint.
don't see toys either. Let me
It's-
look.
There should be a table that's like
Honestly,
Toys
I
are
like
like
the
that.
idea of air fresheners.
for children though.
I'm
Okay,
not
I see
too
school
concerned
spirit,
about
fun
children.
stuff.
I mean,
Where will you be handing these out at?
Like a lot of times it'll be people that come into our office and they have a small child, but also, again, we do get postcards from middle schools, human resources, sheriff's office, I think also just did one. They do booths at high school events to, reach out to the kids before they graduate. So high school age is probably the age that we're looking most at if we're talking about handing stuff out to kids. But again, sometimes there's like a cute little kid in our lobby and we want them to have something to
Little beach balls.
mess around with while their parents are doing
Yeah,
their
beach ball
stuff.
would be good.
Or take up a lot of space.
Yes.
I like little beach balls.
You guys need to get them out of that office space quicker. They don't need a toy.
We did, but it takes up room. It's a big hit, the little footballs that they throw out at football games. Huge, huge. Okay, what's up with rubber ducks?
I do like rubber ducks.
Everybody has rubber ducks going around. They're,
I got a big one in my
There
jacuzzi.
must be
I got
a-
multiple in my hot tub.
are they a rubber duck collection right now going on? Spotted duck?
No.
Well, I
Something's
know
going on.
there's a thing like with Jeeps. If you see a Jeep that you like, you give them a rubber duck and then Jeep people collect them. And I remember vaguely when I was in high school, there was something, I don't remember what it was. There was some contest or something like that where like when you hit certain milestones, you get a rubber duck and then we would collect.
But I've seen
Little
them like
rubber
there's
duckies.
lots of them, the different colors. I thought it's just,
Bucks a piece.
yep, of the Jeep community.
And we are a duck hunting community.
No,
The color
But I
change
see 'em
for
like
ducks
they've
is
been-
240.
from their nostalgic appeal to their usefulness in problem solving and marketing,
I got it.
more than a bath toy.
You found one?
A devil duck.
Devil duck.
Rubber
I like
ducks
the
are
duck
$1.03.
idea. As a logo, appeals to everyone.
Okay.
Infants play with it in the bath. I float mine around.
Okay.
TMI.
I float a duck in the hot tubs, TMI.
But they have like the little two-tone beach balls that are 6-inch, and those are kind of a big hit. Beach balls are a big hit.
Yeah.
They don't take up a lot of room. A little bit smaller than a duck, you can mail it out. When it blows out the window, it's gone. Some of the rubber ducks they have different colors for $1.03. But,
This is way more complicated than it needs to be. Caitlin.
I love the duck idea.
but only get one
Hey,
color, because you'll be getting too many ducks out.
Pick Grant County's color.
The thing of
What
it
is Grant County's color?
I don't know.
As long as you're
Tell us.
giving something out, people will be happy.
I think the ducks are cool
I think
though.
the ducks will be like a big,
When I see like, I got a cancer duck, I kept that one. I got a duck from Kelly. I got a duck from resort I was at. I have 3 ducks, that's all.
and you kept them,
Yeah, I kept them.
Okay. I will
and
look
Rob has no
into,
kids, so
There
there
you
you
go.
go.
I will look into rubber ducks.
Bring that back next week.
Bring it back tomorrow.
I have
I
no
can bring it
toys at
back
my
during a
house for
commissioner's
kids
work
that
session.
come.
But
There you go.
really, the little beach balls, the 6-inch ones are really cute, and the kids will play with them, and then they just deflate them,
No solution.
bring them.
Find out
That's
pricing.
nice little Outdoor, and they don't take
Pay
up
work
a lot of
for
space.
6 months. Oh,
Find out pricing on those also.
They were
It's the worst handwriting I've
78
ever
cents, I
had.
want to say.
We'll see if I can read that later on. Okay. The next,
75 cents, a two-tone beach ball.
Okay.
And that kind of goes with our outdoorsy little outdoor playground.
I'm not opposed to getting more than one toy for multiple age groups. So you can definitely pull some prices and see what you guys think. We have plenty of funds in the budget for it. So I can definitely look into that.
Is it LTAC funds?
Yes.
Have you asked the LTAC folks, what do they want to do? Do they want golf tees? Do they want?
Usually I just ask Rob since he's the chair, and then
They really don't care, to be honest. We talked about it a lot when Cherry was here. They were just like good with whatever was kind of suggested.
next thing I had, so per the direction of the commissioners a couple months ago, Grant County is now a partner for the America's 250th birthday thing. I put my name down as the contact person, so that way I can forward you guys and tourism the things as they come up. We got a little welcome letter from them, but one of the things that they discuss in the welcome letter is access to the official logo and use of the materials that feature the logo. Is that something that the commissioners want to do? So maybe have Rochelle put the logo on things. You have to sign a contract to use it. So if that's something the commissioners want to do, I can send that, or I can look into it further.
I think it's a federal thing, isn't it, coming through?
The logo?
The American 250?
Yes, but in order to use the logo on things, like to say that, like in advertisements and stuff,
Sign a contract.
yes.
I think we want to be a part of the celebration.
We are a part of it. Grant County is a partner. I'm just looking for direction if you guys want the logo put onto things.
Well, I think if we can use it within the year. So the Grand Military Parade is fast approaching.
I would think we would.
Okay.
But that's
I
just
mean,
me.
yes, I don't want it to be on there for ever, but throughout the time.
Yes, yeah. Okay, so and I'll look into the contract a little bit more and see if it needs to go to legal or to consent, however it needs to go. I also have a couple they sent this small stack of water bottle stickers for the Washington State thing, if you guys want them to distribute them, whatever, and then they also sent a big window cling, so I was going to ask the commissioners if you wanted the window cling up in our office, in the lobby, wherever, saying that we're a partner with them.
That's fine.
You better ask Tom.
I can put it on the plexiglass that hangs out over our
Okay, in our office.
desk. Yeah. Okay. Then I have a tourism update. We had the meeting last week, have the minutes and the marketing report.
How did everything go after? Any
I did
plans
not,
afterwards?
didn't receive any, no.
Thank you.
The RFP was published on Friday. So far, I have received one response saying that they will not be participating. And other than that, I've not gotten anything else, which is normal. I mean, it was published at 9:30 Friday morning. So we'll see how that goes. There wasn't anything super insane about the meeting. It was a lot of talking about influencers and the RFP. The only change that they requested in the RFP was to have something in the introduction about who was putting together the proposal and what their role would be in the project. So there was a little bit of concern that maybe a marketing person would put together the proposal and then they would end up working with somebody totally different and not the person that submitted it. So that was included. That was the only change that was requested. Then they are starting their budgeting session in July this year instead of August, so that way they can have a little bit more time to go over their goals and their plan for the LTAC application. And I think that's about it. Oh, so the State of Washington Tourism has a conference in October in Spokane at the Davenport. Rochelle attended last year for tourism, and this year she is wanting to go again, and a couple members of tourism are also wanting to attend. So I had told them that when they knew who was wanting to attend, that it would be probably their best bet to put that request on consent, even though it's not an out-of-state travel. They're still asking to send people to a conference using county funds at the Davenport, which is above the per diem rate. So we'll see that it's not on this week. But
Three that wanted to go, wasn't there?
there were 3 that wanted to go, yes. Lynn still wants to go. David McWalter was interested, but he can't attend due to a scheduling conflict with work. And Amanda Larimore wants to attend also, but she's trying to find out if she can be sent through her job instead of through tourism. So we're just waiting to hear back from that. And then Sean will email an official request that'll get put on consent. And Kevin was in attendance at this last meeting. So, yes. The other thing that, I'll bring it up now. It was mentioned a couple of times with the new publisher, maybe exploring an ad revenue sharing system. It's been talked about in previous meetings. They brought it up again at this last one. It would be quite a lot of work to get something like that off the ground. I talked with Emily about it a little bit because she's, a little bit more familiar with that than I am. I guess my first question is that something that the commissioners would want to pursue more information about?
Who would be responsible for going out and getting those ads?
It would depend on the publisher. My thought was to wait to really bother legal and accounting for information until after we knew what proposals we received. Because if the publisher doesn't want to do it, then obviously that's that. But Emily had said it really just varies based on the publisher and how they typically do it. I think normally they go out and
Yeah, I would think they would
talk
go
to
out and
people.
secure those
Yes.
ads.
And then it's just a matter of if they would want to do the ad revenue sharing system in a way where the revenue coming in would take off from the total budget of the project, or if it's like a percentage split, like the publisher gets this much of the revenue and tourism gets this much of the revenue. But then there'd be a discussion about where the revenue would go, if it would go into tourism's budget, if it would go back to LTAC, if it would come to the commissioners somehow.
Well, I think if tourism's going out there and getting those ads, it should go into their account.
So then they would probably need to do a budget extension of some sort, because normally their budget only includes LTAC grant funds and like the State of Washington Tourism grant and any other future grants. Since the commissioners wanted this to be passed through, those are a total separate thing that Carrie manages. So they would probably need to have some sort of line in their budget that you would then need to do an extension for, but that's something we would have to ask legal and accounting.
Right.
But again,
But if we don't have a publisher that's willing to go out and do that. then
right,
it's
and-
really
Well,
a
because
point.
usually, the publishers and how they pay for the magazine and then whatever they
Yeah.
collect is all profit. And from the,
And if the commissioners don't want to pursue that route at all,
I mean,
period,
If
then,
it's a cost saving to us, if they want to go out and get the ads, and it saves us money, it could go directly to them and we wouldn't have to worry about it. Does that make sense?
yes, I mean, the extra funds would get spent by tourism, I would expect.
So then that would save us tourism money and they could go spend it on something else.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, that would probably be the cleanest, easiest way.
Typically, at the end of the year, any funds remaining in tourism's balance gets transferred back to LTAC. So that's another thing that would have to be discussed. If they had revenue that came in that they did not spend before the end of the year, would that also be included in that transfer? Or would it just sit in their account?
Well, if it's money that's gonna go back to LTAC, couldn't they buy items that could be giveaway items?
For tourism?
Yeah.
Probably. Let's see, why not? That's something that you could be.
Haven't really thought a whole lot about it, to be totally honest with you.
Nope.
And let's work with tourism and, but
Yeah, plus we don't have anybody that's taken on that project yet, right?
Right.
So,
Right. So
more to come.
I can bring it back after we get some proposals and then see what you guys think.
That works.
Get out of the way.
Thank you. Thanks, Barb.
you're very welcome.
Thank you.
I have the one, I really got to see my contact, and I love my.
Hotter than blazes today, but the.
And it's on the way.
supposed to be windy
So you don't have
out
to worry
there.
about, yes. You don't have to
You
worry about
need
hair.
that, Wore out.
When I get a promise, I'll send you a message. They're so comfortable.
I didn't get to grow much. Kids in the house.
I don't know if Michelle's home. Ugh.
Or swimming in the lake, or water skiing, or.
I didn't-
Do you live by the water?
Yeah.
Or,
Can you guys do something about the heat?
Weather cool.
We're not even,
Turning up.
Grandkids are there.
I don't like it.
Good morning, it's 10:02 a.m. and we are going to roll into our accounting auditor's office update.
Oh, wow. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
fabulous, unless the heater breaks, I mean, the AC breaks, and then it's.
Stop, don't even. I'm like already sweating. Like,
Usually it's really chilly in here, so.
I don't know if Michelle, I'm gonna message her real quick to verify. She's probably busy, but I doubt she has anything to update. I really don't have much.
How's Tyler coming along?
Great. I have great news with Tyler. The 5th was our make it or break it date where we're gonna decide, have we done enough to go live July 1st? And we have. We are confident we're going to meet that date. We have got all of our conversion data into Tyler, successfully imported all the way through to our 2025 budget. And we are beginning training on AP entry to the 11th, Wednesday and Thursday. We'll start doing that. We'll get those recorded and we'll disseminate those to the other departments as well. So they'll have that training. Grants are all that we know about that we had. We have inputted all of those into Tyler. We will have to walk the departments through how to do that, but that is something we can control in accounting. We don't really need the departments to do a lot there. So maybe down the line, we can get them trained to handle their own grants, but we want to probably have control of that for a little while in Tyler until we get it all just, perfect. I don't know. So yeah, things are looking great in Tyler. Very excited.
Kudos. You've had quite the project in the last year.
Yeah. And I am filling in with the payroll. They're doing a parallel right now. I just came down for this meeting. I'm helping with that to see where we are with that. Hopefully that goes well. We are working on that today and tomorrow. I still have lots of finance work to be done. We're not there yet, but we definitely think that we're going to be able to go live. Holly's booking our flight. She's going to be on site our go live week. I know.
So we got an email from the sheriff's office about the payroll or the hourly entry, how I think he was comparing a 1-star service to a 5-star service, or maybe we have our payroll module, or not our payroll, our hourly input module.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what Off's concerns are. We have some time to assuage them. I can't imagine that what we're doing now is better than what we can do in Tyler with payroll and time and attendance. So I think it's just gonna be a matter of having some conversations with him and figuring out what he wants exactly and what we're capable of doing in Tyler, and just finding that middle ground for it to work. I know they do a lot of different shifts and overtime. They're probably one of our more complicated departments, so it's not gonna be easy. But what they're using now, Nova Time, isn't easy and it isn't great and it doesn't integrate with our our financial system. So this transition is definitely the way to go.
Okay, yeah, I just didn't have any follow-up on that, so thank you. Not gonna be working or?
We'll make it work. We'll get it there. I mean, I don't know exactly what he's concerned that won't work. Like I said, we know we're where he's got a variety of situations. Tyler can handle that.
Good answer.
Just change and nobody likes it.
I know, it'll be hard. So as far as that is, I think we're on track. Fortunately, we're not going live with payroll for another 7 months. So maybe once they get used to using the AP side, seeing how some of the reporting is working, they'll be more comfortable transitioning to the payroll side. We have our audit starting. Should be starting this week. They'll do some work off-site first, planning. Once we get the entrance conference scheduled, we can put that on your books. Historically, we've done it with the commissioners. I think last year was the first year. I don't think you guys attended the entrance conference. It's really not necessary. It's a lot of formality. We're doing your audit. And I don't think it's a beneficial use of your guys'
Are they doing
time.
the federal accountability? What are they
It's
doing?
the federal and the financial. They'll do the accountability in the fall. And they'll do risk assessments with one or more of you. If you all want to do one with them, I can set that up. That's more for the accountability side. But doesn't hurt to get it done during the financial audit and they can use it. So if you have things that you have concerns about, areas that you want them to consider or look at. So up to you guys if you want to be involved in the entrance conference or not. I don't think it makes a difference. It's usually the exit conference when they have the results that we'll have.
I'm fine with either way.
Yeah, no matter what, you'll be invited to the entrance, but we do have to make that decision so that you can comply with OPMA if we do have it. If you guys all want to be involved, then.
I'm okay in not doing it now that I know it's a federal and financial. Kind of bug.
Do you all want to do a risk assessment with the auditors? It's about
What do
15
you
to 20
recommend?
minutes.
Should we be doing the risk assessments? We're not held liable. Maybe it would be best so we're not.
They're required to do it with one.
I think
Usually it's the chair, yeah. But you can all certainly do it if you'd like.
Doesn't matter to me. If it's something we need to do, I'll do it.
It would just be probably a phone call, or if they're on site and you're available, maybe they would meet with you, but I doubt it. And they ask you, the standard questions. And then they give you the opportunity to just tell them anything you feel that they should know or that you'd like them to consider or want.
What are the standard questions?
Are you aware of any fraud? Are you aware of any financial misstatements? Have you complied with any applicable laws? Those are the kinds of questions. And I mean, it's very straightforward and yeah, I don't think there's anything for the financial and federal audit. They're not going to really get much from your guys' inquiry other than they're required to do that inquiry. usually what you guys provide to them will be considered in the accountability audit. Because the financials for us is very straightforward. Did we comply with bars?
Do you know what they're gonna be auditing as far as federal, what?
We do not know what grants. It'll likely be
So our
some,
office will probably need to do our, before they come,
Just go through and do it.
we need to do our, for, like in Carrie's office, we need to do our finance, kind of the internal audit, we need to do that, because we failed to do that. The year before.
I can tell
I
you
don't know if
now.
it was finished up, at a later date.
Huh?
I don't know if we did it at a later date, but we did get nailed for that, so they're gonna be looking at it again this year.
Yes.
Will you be working with Carrie, or do you want me to mention that to Carrie?
I mentioned it to Carrie.
Okay.
That doesn't roll over that issue. It was only applicable to that audit year. So it's,
Usually they look at it, when we get in trouble for,
yes, they follow up.
yeah,
But if they don't audit that same program, or if if you didn't make the same type of expenditures in that program year, it's not applicable. For example, if they audit county roads and do some sort of procurement project, there's a policy for federal guidelines that we've not yet implemented into our policies. And that was a federal finding 2 years ago. So if they look at that, that's the potential to be a finding again. If they don't audit
Is there a reason why we haven't done that?
time, this time, it's just a matter of adopting the federal policy as our own policy related to when we'll go out to bid and the specific language that we'll have in the contracts. And I don't know whose responsibility that was at the time to,
Well, if it's a public works thing, it should.
it should be a
Public
public works director, it would basically, or the engineer or the director.
in the past, Public Works has gotten away with it because they follow
Washcott?
WashDOT's rules.
Right.
And those have the federal requirements in
Okay,
them.
so maybe that's,
But it has to be our policies.
Oh, okay.
That's the caveat and the
So we
change
take
in that
policy
reporting.
from the state and use it in ours as well.
It should be I don't know what it looks like right now. I think with ARPA being as large as it is and being the most recent finding, that's probably where they're gonna look. So I think that's what they'll audit.
Probably should let public works know that needs to get done.
Yes. I have one big change with our staffing.
What's that?
Our accountant, Erin, has accepted a position at a different organization, and her last day working will be June 20th.
okay. So you'll be advertising for a new position?
Michelle and I haven't talked about it yet. I'm assuming yes. I don't know.
That's like this week and next week, okay, so she'll be gone here shortly.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot to put on Jamie if we don't hire another
Well, I'm
person.
sure, yeah, the visit with Michelle, and then I would visit with you, get to HR quickly so you can get something advertised.
Yeah,
And advertising. It'll take a while,
yeah, we need to,
advertise for a week or two,
yeah.
and they need to get their employer, 2 weeks, unless they're unemployed at the time,
Well, I just found out today,
okay.
so I haven't had an opportunity to talk to Michelle about it. Hopefully we'll get it done quickly. I don't know if we require a degree for that position. I'm wondering about that.
I don't know if it's a degree or like service, I think it, like work has also.
Hmm.
If one or the other, or both would be ideal.
But we'll get it done.
Well, we should have a
Move
job
forward.
description from previously. She hasn't been here forever.
No, fortunately, she's only been here a year. Year and a half, so,
We should have everything.
yeah. Uh, Our AP guy is on vacation this week, so I'll be fulfilling those duties of credit card reconciliations and payments. Jamie and Aaron will be filling in the gaps so that we're still meeting our payables for Grant County and our payables for special districts. We're not skipping anything. Hopefully, we'll be successful. And I think that's it. Unless there's
Wow, well, you
anything
had a lot of information there. Okay.
Yeah, I'm very excited about the Tyler situation. Like I said, we still have a lot of work to do, but I'm feeling like we can breathe about it.
The HR piece of it is hanging in there.
Yeah, it's a different beast, but
Well, won't it be easier once this is implemented for the HR component to click in and start working better or no?
well, once we are implemented and I have more time to help fill in some of the gaps with the jail accounting for them, that will definitely be a huge help. Because that's been a barrier for them, is not being able to set up positions to certain GL codes because they just don't know.
Don't work yourself on the ground by all this new exciting things coming around. Yeah, I visit with Michelle in HR as soon as possible to get that county position advertised.
Yeah. I'm just not sure if, I know expediency is necessary in the situation, but at the same time, with everything that we're dealing with, I just wonder if bearing the load and waiting maybe is something we should consider. I mean, it'd be a lot but I would take on a lot of that and Jamie would take on a small piece and Joe would take on, so everyone would be taking on some additional stuff, but I just don't want to be in the situation where we were and hire someone.
Public Works just had their position open. They had a handful of very qualified candidates that were recommended for Michelle to look at. She chose not to review them overly, so I think it's good timing to open that position also.
Can we piggyback off of their interview and application work?
You'd have to ask HR on that.
Okay,
I don't know.
I'll inquire about it. I don't mind. I don't see anything that hurts in looking at those individuals.
Yeah, I would look. They had a few that they were pretty high on that they liked.
That's great. And that would be, I'll ask HR about that.
And maybe that would, yeah, speed up the
Yeah, I don't know why
process.
you couldn't contact them and let them know you have a position open.
Go ahead and apply again.
I.
I think that might be a barrier to them, like who wants to like put in all that stuff again? Like if we could utilize what they've already submitted, then I think that would be a huge incentive for them to come in and interview for that.
Maybe it was a win-win.
Yeah, I would talk to HR.
Yeah.
Way to use that.
I know that when it was like for a position we posted, we had 6 months or something like that to reconsider candidates. But I don't know about interdepartmental. I mean, I think you
Well,
would
still the
be
county,
the
it's still the
same.
HR department, but yeah, I would ask HR, maybe that would help expedite.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. Trying to think anywhere else where we hired some accountants. Maybe Renew didn't they? Hire but maybe that was a lower accountant. Like, I don't know. I thought they hired an additional person,
County person?
like a new position in accounting for under Jenny and Raina.
You would probably know more.
I don't know.
I should know this, it was in their budget.
Anything else for you?
Nope.
Anything else for Mandy? Okay, well, thank you. We'll go into recess until dun, 10:15. No recess, commissioner work session.
Yeah, they might. I just don't want to tell you that we can roll that over if there's a little bit different job duties, but go talk to HR,
I definitely will.
administrative specialist, case manager, Barrett County engineer.
It's gonna be pretty much the same people applying, right? Like, I would think,
Probably, I would think, but where did Erin go?
I don't know.
Okay.
She didn't offer the
I
information.
thought she went over to the PUD
And I
like
didn't.
everybody else.
She specifically said she didn't go to the PUD.
Okay.
I don't know why that was important for her to emphasize, but
She's probably like, we're not going there.
yeah, so.
Interpreter clerk.
Oh, I do know it's not government.
Okay. Part of government. Probably what she's thinking.
Who wouldn't want to work in government?
You get June 19th off.
Hmm?
Thank you.
Okay, so commissioner work session, we have pending decisions, worksheet, 5-year coordinated entry plan. Still being worked on, was like hosted a big homeless planning work session last week that I went to, and I didn't really participate. I just walked around, listened to everybody's opinions. They had a really good turnout, probably 120, 150 people. The 5-year plan is still moving forward. Caitlin and I are working on it. We made the decision to basically get the plan pretty well established before presenting it to the task force, just because we don't have a lot of time. And I have a pretty good feeling everybody wants to see more, but they don't have time to help, and we're down to just a few months to get that finished. So that's kind of where we're going there. Small attractive items, theft sensitive asset policy. I'm not sure where that's at. I think it was updated, but I don't know. Does anyone remember?
I think it's on the back burner till we get Tyler implemented.
Okay.
That's not good.
ADA access at museum is being worked on. Safety committee plan Blair is working on. Did you see the emails from West Shore property owners?
Yeah, well, it sounds like county, Dave reached out to me. I don't know if Dave reached out to both of you. I think he reached out to you, Rob, that since the road is a little bit higher, we're not used to putting curb gutter and sidewalks in. So we will be repairing the driveways as needed. And there's not every driveway, or apparently it is not every driveway, but it will be maybe 15, 18 driveways that,
It's like 90.
was it 90?
They originally said there was 94.
94. That's right.
But it would be more affordable to go in and, okay.
94 driveways. They want to match the driveways with either concrete or pavement with a 10 to 12% grade from those tops of those entries or approaches. So on some areas, it's going
94.
to be,
Okay, yeah.
20, 30 feet from the edge of the curb or sidewalk to get the 10% grade. So it's going to be fairly expensive if we have to do 94 driveways. I think they thought that could be less than that, but it all depends on what the homeowner wants.
Yeah, it's something like it. Yeah, the road, we didn't
Oh,
even do
it's
it
gonna
with
be very
the
significant.
sidewalk. Looks like it'd be better just to cut down the sidewalk. Lush.
I said it wasn't possible because then it drains into the property. That was something I asked also. I talked to Andy for a while on Thursday or Friday.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. I don't know how they're gonna, some places there's not much room between their garage and the sidewalk.
Yes, we're gonna have to do basins, drains.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, are they gonna just put some dry sumps driveways or, well, not like that, how's that gonna work when it needs
I don't know, that will, could basically wipe out our entire, budget for, roads for a year or two. But I feel like we need to fix it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that it's come to the point where they figured out before sidewalks are done.
Andy's working on a couple things that I had requested, and he'll bring those to us hopefully tomorrow.
We'll have an update tomorrow on what their plans are. The biggest thing I think is they need to be communicating with these property owners so that they understand that there is a solution. And, you know, they're working on a solution, not just avoiding it, but letting them know that there is a solution we're working on. And it's gonna require they're gonna have to sign off on it, and they're gonna have to cooperate with us, otherwise.
There's also gonna be, wherever their yard is, drop off from, I mean, that's a significant,
Yeah, that's the thing, and then you got, you know, the areas
That's
between
the-
driveways where you're gonna have a huge drop off, which to me is a kind of unless they backfill it with some dirt or topsoil, like gravel or something.
I don't know that the sidewalk around the mailbox creates big drop-offs too, because there's no option. You know, they can gradually go off of that entryway, but if you have it another 4 feet in, that was a bad choice by the property owners, I think, but.
But I don't know why I couldn't go back in there with some gravel and bring that up, you know, another 3 feet around those concrete areas. So if somebody in a wheelchair is going around that concrete, they don't, wheel goes off that concrete there. So,
where you go?
Mario,
Yeah, well,
more to come on that.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. 17 shut down right now. That's
Highway
Coming
17
into
is, was
town
there
or
an
what?
accident?
right between. Yeah, I got had to go off onto some side roads. It's closed. An accident and fire.
Oh,
Looks like.
And this fall, Kamaki City, the adult delegation may be coming over for a visit, but we'll work with the chambers if they do decide to come over. FYI.
How did that go?
Really well. Busy. Hot, and it was warm over there. It's crazy, because the hotel we stayed at, they were hand watering their yard with a hose. There were
What's
like
road
3 guys.
district 2, the buff guy's name? Justin. Sorry,
Once we were in here again last week.
Justin Walker.
Yeah, no, it went really well. Great celebration. And there's a Yakima, like Yakima, Washington, but Yakema. I'm very interested on a sister city event. We're gonna be doing a sister city relationship. Really is a visit, invite us over for a visit. I met some of the kids that had come over here previously. And one of the 8th graders I met in 2019, and she is graduating going to full college, so she's doing really well. It's fun to see.
Yeah.
Some familiar faces, because you don't always get, you know, you think you're never gonna see them again, so it's kind of a nice reward to see them.
Especially there.
Okay, I'm gonna run these over really fast. First, I don't know if I'll do it in a minute. Hi, is it getting really hot out there?
God, it's hot. It's gonna be a nice day.
Hot or not?
I like it hot.
Show
Still got my
Mikey
Texas spirit.
Yeah, you're gonna need some smaller shirts, my man.
I know, right?
Bad problem.
The problem is once I stop, then I'll just come back. I'm keeping both sets of clothes.
Well, that's, yeah, I keep all of them. I got like 44 to 50 in my suits.
It's a good problem, I guess.
It's not a bad one,
At least it's not like a health issue that's causing it, so that's good.
but the opposite could cause a health issue.
That's true.
Well, we'll get started on your update. It is 10:30 a.m. and we are here for a renew update with Della Anderson.
Thank you. I had two items on the agenda, and then I thought I'd walk through some of the consent items that we've got on for this week. The first agenda item was for our criminal justice treatment account. This is what's referred to as our CJTA funds and our CJTA contract. Back on June 2nd, the county, so I believe an email went to Cindy and Cindy forwarded that to you from Zach Lynch, who's the account manager at the Washington State Division of Behavioral Health and Recovery. Each biennium, these contracts are amended and new funding or changes to funding are addressed at that time, but we have an opportunity each biennium to decide if we, as a department and county, want to directly contract with the state for these services, or if we want to move it to the administrative service organization for our region, which is Carillon Behavioral Health. And so I just wanted to let you know that in the last biennium, we transferred the account to Carillon Behavioral Health. That's gone really well for us. And so my recommendation to the board was for us to continue that relationship with Carillon and that contract to exist through Carillon. And I can, if you would like, I can respond to Zach if you guys agree and let him know that that's our plan for this next biennium. Don't know if you have any specific thoughts or worries or.
I don't.
I'd say if it's working well, I'd stay with it.
Yeah, it's going really well. This is the CJTA funds,
Okay.
the email you'd sent about Zach Lynch.
Okay.
And just want you to know if we're gonna stay with Carillon.
Yes, they're asking me and I'm like, I can't make that decision on my own here. Okay, I think I said it, okay, with Caitlin and,
So, but that's something that comes up every 2 years.
okay.
Also, we've been looking for space. We're struggling for space in Moses Lake. We have an opportunity over at 1441 East Yanazawa. There's a building being built there across from the hospital next to Confluence. And there's 7,000 square feet available, so it's 2 suites that we would be able to use there. The purpose for us is that when the hospital moves, when Samaritan moves to the new hospital, that's going to drastically change our ability from a crisis response team to respond in the same time frame that right now we walk there. Right now we run across the parking lot. And so I've been really worried about what that looks like once they move. And so this provides us an opportunity to be able to at least put half of our crisis team there, our 2 recovery coaches that respond to the ER, and then our initial thoughts are those positions that are non-client facing. So that would be like the executive position, the finance team, claims and billing, our quality and compliance teams. It equals out to about 34 people, which I think for the space might be too many. So I think we're gonna take a look. This is just initial thoughts. Why a lease versus a build is because our funds allow us to do improvements and maintain, but we don't have funds that are able to build brick and mortar.
How long are those funds available?
The funds.
Yeah.
So these are our ongoing mental health funds that we
But-
have for
So
treatment.
do they ever get cut?
If there's changes to the Medicaid rates, that can happen. Like, so that if there's changes where we lose a ton of revenue because of cuts, we have financial plans for that, though. I think we just look at changing the model and offering more private insurance and private pay type services to offset some of those losses we could potentially have from Medicaid changes.
But Medicaid would have to go away.
Yeah. Significant.
So it could happen,
reduction.
or
So I
they
mean,
could,
yeah, that could be a possibility. The lease itself, we're having legal review that, and Tom Gaines and also Blair on the insurance end. So just as FYI, as that comes through, we haven't agreed to anything. We're just in the initial stage of looking at the lease and the options
What
They,
kind of lease options are on that building?
what do you mean?
Like what kind of duration, rate?
So this one's 10-year lease, which I'd be comfortable with, so I don't see ourselves leaving the spot because it's so close to the hospital. It's $2 a square foot. We pay a little bit more than that in some of our other leases over in Manawa, Real City areas. From a market standpoint, don't think that's too outlandish. One of the benefits to the 10 years that you also get $80 a square foot for like an allowance for build out. So where it's an open shell, hasn't been completed yet, we'd be able to select our floor plan and work with them and it'd be done in the fall. So I think it's an exciting opportunity, something that we're just taking a serious look at and want to see if it's something we can move forward on. As far as 2025 budget, we did budget about $190,000 on additional leases. And so this falls significantly under that, especially if it's coming at the end of the year, but we'll build a budget for that the following year. This also would prevent us from expanding the current building that we're in, which I think will be a cost savings to us as well, because we need to expand it's just over 7,000 square feet in our current building if we were to do that. And so this does help with that cause as well. Frees up parking for the clients. It's a huge issue at the Most Lake site is people constantly complaining about where they park and where do we put the employees as well. And so I think it alleviates some things while it gives us that opportunity to be closely connected with the new hospital. So as that lease starts to come through, I can provide more updates, or if you guys have any concerns with it, please let me know. Any questions?
That'll be good to help finish the floor plan. Give that opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, and I keep it within the $80 because I don't want to go over it. We've joked about, I know the plans of the coroner's office, and I was like, it probably wouldn't be very good for us to tie in there.
Probably not.
Yeah.
No. It'll be nice to be close to the hospital too.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Yeah, my only concern is long lease, high rate.
Yes.
I mean, you could, 10 years, the county could build almost, but.
Yes. So that's the issue I run into.
And then just a few years ago, you had a lot of excess office space. Now you don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just look at it like, could you drop again and now you have that big lease, empty space?
In my time here, we haven't had excess. We've been growing since I've been here.
Yeah, I thought when I went and toured, when I first was elected, that there was a lot of offices available.
I'm not recalling an office space available. In Ephrata, we had 2 offices. We've grown to 12 offices, and now those are completely utilized. In Royal City, we went from 2 offices to 5 offices. Those are utilized.
I mean, and those is like,
Yeah, Matawa went from 1 office to 4 offices, and we're busting at the seams in Moses Lake. So it's definitely an issue for us. I don't see the clinical services dropping. We're continuing to have high demand. So from that aspect, yeah. But I appreciate the concern, because looking at federal government and plans for Medicaid cuts over the next several years, that could have an impact. So we would need to adjust on what we plan to do as far as opening other types of services to help offset that. But I also agree on the issue with why not build something over time. You're right.
it's hard location. We've already dealt with that, but.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. There's, I know the county has a spot over on Randolph Road as well. I think in the future that could be an option. I think more of our client base, from a population standpoint, probably access more from that area. But this at least gave us a good option for those non-client facing staff, so that we could, basically initially we were talking about having our substance use service take the entire 2nd floor in Moses Lake, so they would have room to grow and add staff if necessary. But we will keep looking at the projections and watching what's happening federally. I think Washington State does have desire to continue to support behavioral health as a priority, so we'll keep a close eye and I'll keep you updated. Then consent agenda items, just as an FYI, We have our amendment with Molina coming through. The effective date for this is 7/1/2024. That's accurate. This is how long it usually takes for these amendments to make it through their cycle. And this had some changes for increases in our WISE funding, which is the wraparound intensive service for youth and children, as well as some increased rates that we have there. Another one is a $32,000, and this is with the Public Hospital District number 304 in Grant County through Moses Lake Community Coalition. So just as a reminder, when we see these, Renew acts as fiscal agents to the community coalitions. So this is both the Moses Lake Community Coalition and the Quincy Youth Partner Coalition. But because we're a fiscal agent for them, these are their funds, but because we act as a fiscal agent for them, they have to come through our approval process. So for the amount that it is, it comes through for commissioner approval, and so that we can release and process a check to them. Another one is the Quincy Youth Partner. This is a coalition in Quincy. This was for a little over 28,000. This is for the Strengthening Families Program. Again, this is budgeted through the coalition. We act as a fiscal agent, so we just have the commissioners sign on these so that we can release their funds. And then the one that would have impact to us is we've been working with TS on additional computer purchases for the employees that we've been hiring. This comes to the amount of $20,753. This was not specifically budgeted as a line item for computers. We do have the funds available in our mental health funds to support the new equipment. And so this will need your approval before we make the purchases. And so you'll see these are the ones that you'll see coming through later today.
And I'm just verifying the 108 is for mental health or Renew. But
Yes, yep. And that's what I have for you on my agenda today. Do you guys have anything for me?
I don't think I do. I usually reach out to you right away when I have something.
Two things in the newspaper this last weekend. One was an individual that drove their car into the Moses Lake, and yesterday an individual that had jumped off the bridge. We're keeping a close eye on that. It's always very concerning to us that those situations are occurring. No names have been released yet that I'm aware of. So those are things we pay attention to just to ensure that if they've been in services that we are able to follow up on that. And if not, to just try to see what more we can do to help prevent these types of situations. It's sad. It keeps occurring.
Okay, well, thank you, Bill.
Yeah. You bet.
Those were both Moses Lake individuals, they said.
Yeah. Not specific if they've said they're residents of Moses Lake. It just occurred in Moses Lake, so I don't know for sure. We usually do get reports from the coroner's office as well, so I communicate with them on that too.
I was surprised when I heard that, like, wow.
Yeah.
Those things don't usually happen around here.
No. Sad deal.
Unfortunately.
Any other questions for Dell? All right, thank you, Dell.
Yeah, you bet, you guys.
We'll go into quick recess and we'll be back with Jim McKiernan for our fairgrounds update.
I'll see you guys virtually on PMRT later.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Good morning, it's 10:45 a.m. and we are here for a fairgrounds update with Jim McKiernan.
Howdy, howdy.
Hello.
Morning. I actually don't have too much today. The only thing I was going to bring up was I know Bonnie Helbley is pestering us for more dates next year. She's trying to put on a 5-day event. That makes it really difficult in our busy season in June, July, and August. And so I think I gave her a May 30th date was the only date that we had where there wasn't something prior to or bumping up against the backside of that. Because it does take some extensive cleaning after those events to do a celebratory event. So as part of that, I believe she's going to ask you for some funding for that event. as well. I do know they had a decent turnout this last weekend. I think it was around 150 animals or something like that at their event. But a 5-day event is a 5-day free event. Free meaning free to no fees to the fairgrounds. We really want to make sure if that happens that we schedule it around paying events so that we can maintain our revenue side of the budget. So
Okay, because
that's,
when she was talking, it was just a 1-day event, but she wants to host it for 5 a day.
yeah, I just found that out on
Okay, I think
Thursday.
that's new information that I did not have.
Yeah. We have monster trucks this weekend. And there is one concern. They're going to charge for parking in the blue parking lot. Nobody in Grant County is used to paying for parking at the fairgrounds. So I again warned them this morning and said, hey, you're going to have some irritated people because parking is $20. So tickets to the event might only be $20, but parking's $20 per car. And so I said, just so you know, you're going to have some irritated people out on Valley that are probably going to refuse to come in because of the fee you're charging for parking. Nobody pays for parking at the fairgrounds. We
Did you
also
rent
had,
the parking lot to them also in that contract?
yep, we are renting the parking lot. Yes, there's a fee for the parking lot. It's not much. It's $425. And
Another,
we only charged that once we found out they were going to charge for parking. We don't normally charge for rodeo arena rental parking because it's usually free. But since they were charging, we decided to charge.
Are we getting a percentage of it?
Nope, just the $425. Well, then we got sprung on Friday that they wanted to have a beer garden too, which they were going to contract with a nonprofit. That can't happen with our event and venue license. And we said it takes us at least 2 to 3 weeks to set up a beer garden with OBS and security. So I said it's a no-go on the beer garden. So I said,
but they have access or the ability to set one up through their own licensing?
nope, they can't under our license.
Okay. I'm a little nervous to charge for parking because I'm sure it's gonna be pushed
Come on
onto
us.
the commissioners that the reason they have to charge is because the county is charging parking, so I would rather.
But we're only charging as a result of their charging. Normally, we don't charge for the parking lot rental for an event in the rodeo
Well, we
ground.
don't normally charge. I just
Oh,
feel
no,
like we're
it's
targeting.
it's an identified space that a person can rent because we do have people that rent just the blue parking lot. Vacation Bible School is a good example. They rent just the blue parking lot and we charge them for that.
What do
So
we charge?
when they said they were going to charge for parking, we said, well, we really should charge you then for the use of the parking. Normally we wouldn't because parking's free at the fairgrounds for every event.
Well, again, I'm going to reiterate, I think we probably should not charge, even if they are charging, because you're using the facility. It will come back to haunt us.
Oh, it's ridiculous. They're going to charge anyway, whether we charge or not. Cindy, it's up to you.
It
I
still
mean,
doesn't-
I
Right.
can not charge them, so then you can say, well, we didn't charge them, so we don't understand why they're not charging.
Well, we probably need to open up another parking lot because they will be driving they'll be parking elsewhere.
That could be problematic too. I think if you try to open another parking lot and they aren't getting that revenue, but they are charging for parking, and that's their prerogative. We can say we're not charging the event for the blue parking lot, but I think we can't really say we're going to provide a free parking lot when you're charging for parking. I think that would be,
But I just think,
I think we should at least let people know that we're not the ones charging for the parking.
but that's just me. I don't feel like the $400 that we're gonna recoup from the parking, charging, I think it's going to hurt us a lot more than help us, $400.
we cannot charge the $425. I got no problem with that. And then
Rob?
we can put on our social media, hey, be
Yes,
prepared to
I
pay
would.
for parking because the event is charging for parking, even though we're not charging for the parking lot.
I would rather see something like that on than, well, the commissioners are charging for parking, so we have to charge. Kevin?
Yeah.
What are
Yeah,
your
for
thoughts?
$425, it's not worth it to us.
Okay.
I
Rob?
think, I
I'm
think,
indifferent on it, kinda.
I think it needs to be that the event person is the one charging, not us.
I mean, the people coming need to know the parking's $20. If
Absolutely.
the people coming know the parking's $20, then I don't really care, but if I showed up and it's $20, then I'm gonna drop off whoever's with me and I'm gonna park on the road somewhere and walk there.
That's my concern. Did they, I'm assuming they let people know that.
I'm gonna
parking is
say
gonna
they
be
didn't
additional.
let them know.
It hasn't been in any of their promotional materials that I've seen so far. So, and I did reiterate to them again this morning, that, they're probably going to feel there's going to be a lot of irritated people and they're going to feel the wrath at that ticket booth that they're going to have at the entrance to Blue Gate parking. And so he was going to bring it up to the powers to be, whoever that is, and tell them that I am very concerned about charging for parking. So,
Well, I think you're gonna lose a lot of people
yeah, I think so too.
because, you know, everybody that goes the first day, the first morning or the afternoon, they're gonna let everybody know that they're charging $20 to park your car.
Oh, yeah.
Or you're gonna get a truckload of people just piling in one truck. I don't know.
No, you're gonna
Right.
park over by the water tower, you're gonna walk over
Yeah,
there.
you're gonna park along the road, wherever. $20
Yeah.
is a lot for
I
parking.
just think it creates a problem.
Yeah. We'll see if they change their minds. They have their meeting tomorrow and he said he would echo my concern. So I will not charge them for the parking lot and that at least gets us out of that loop. And then I'll post on social media that,
Be prepared to pay $20 for parking.
be prepared. Yeah. Be prepared to pay for parking for this event. All right. Anything else? That's all I had actually. We're fully staffed. That's all. Awesome. That's awesome. And yeah, I am gone Wednesday and Friday of next week.
Well, good luck. Hopefully.
Oh man, yeah. And I am gonna order some of that stuff Cindy you sent me. So
It helps.
once we get through surgery.
Yeah, have fun with that.
Oh yeah. You sure you don't want to, hear all the details? You don't want to hear the details, Kevin. All right, that's all I have.
All right, thanks,
Thank
Jim.
you, Jim.
Thanks,
Thank
Jim.
you. Talk to you later. Bye.
We'll go into recess until 11 a.m. and we are back with Blair Koch for Risk and Safety Coordinator update. Good morning, it's 11 a.m. and we are here for a Risk and Safety Coordinator update with Blair Koch.
Good morning. Just wanted to give you some updates on some claims that I got this morning from the WCRG. They sent me a message on 1732, the fairgrounds claim, where the claimant ran through multiple fences. They sent a second sub-road demand to them saying if they don't get a response by the July 19th, they'll be turning this over to the DOL, to the Driver Responsibility Division, where mother and son will lose their license. So son was driving mom's car and they haven't responded to the first demand. And
How old was the son?
I don't know exactly, but I know
Obviously old
old enough to be driving,
Okay.
but they didn't have insurance. They didn't look like, so we can't get a response. So the insurance company they did have on said they're not covering because they didn't have insurance through them. So we're trying to find that out. On the 5th renew, the 1705, the claim was closed. We received the full cost of damage for the rear end on Basin Street in Ephrata. On the 5th, you guys got the email about the tort claim from Public Works on the windshield damage. I did talk to Public Works about it. They said, yes, that was us. They were driving. We have the incident form from the employee. Talked to Public Works. I did talk to the prosecuting attorney's office and talked to them and said, yeah, go ahead and reach out to them. So I talked to the claimant and said, yes, we received it. And we're starting the initiation of payment for the repair of that windshield. On the 2nd, we had an issue with Public Works backing and hitting a concrete wall at a retaining wall at a potato farm. They needed to try to find the owner. I just was told today that they found the owner And what they want to do is turn it over to the bridge crew to do the work. But my concern is if we do the work, if the owner comes back at us later and says faulty work or something like that. So I wanted to bring it up to you, and then I'll bring it up to the prosecuting office about trying to get a waiver signed after the work's done, saying, hey, they accept it and are okay with the work. So to try to protect us. If we're going to be doing any work on personal property, I'd like to try to get waivers signed after the work is done, that they approve of it, and they come after us at a later date.
I would think our bridge crew would be highly capable of doing.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
More so than-
I agree 100%, but it's also just trying to protect the county in the future if we ever do work in other locations. So we don't have people just coming at us saying, oh, you did this work and now it's faulty and someone got hurt. It's protecting us, saying they signed over the chance to sue us. Claim 1744, where we turned in front of another vehicle on 17, the sheriff's office. The WCRG reached out to State Farm or Farmers, can't remember which company it was, to try to have them take some liability. They refused to take any of the liability, so I talked to the sheriff's office and we just agreed to move forward with paying the bill on it. So we told WCRG to move forward. Any questions on those claims? Okay. I met with the sheriff's office, their supervisors, and talked with them about some of the things I've been doing since I've started, trying to build a relationship with the sheriff's department. Have a pretty good relationship with them, but trying to get in contact with some of the newer supervisors and building those relationships. So that was a good meeting. Actually got a person from the sheriff's office to join the safety committee. So that's awesome. So we now have,
bonus point.
I know, I'm kind of happy about that. So we're working on trying to get all the departments on the safety committee. Met with New Hope as well and got to meet their new service dog, B. Didn't get to see her because she was out actually doing her job in an interview, so that was great. So did that. And then I also went with Tom to visit the new jail. What a difference from last time I was there, the amount of work that's been done inside of it. Feel like every time I go there, it's going to be more work being done, and it's impressive. And it's going to be really nice compared to what we currently have once we're in there. It's to make it a lot safer for us, and it's impressive to see. So they've been doing that. Waiting to hear back from Decorah and a couple of public works. Also have Tom reviewing the accident prevention program. As soon as they have their reviews, we'll be sending it off to the department head and elected officials to get their views on it, and then have you guys sign off on it. And then we'll be done with the accident prevention program, and we'll have Grant County having one. And that is what I have for you guys.
Have we not ever had an accident prevention program before?
We've had, in the past, they were working on one, but we switched the name of it. It was a lot longer, but there's been semi ones, but nothing official. And so this will be nice for each department. They can put in their procedures. Public Works put their own in, and New Hope or whatever department can put their own in there for when they hire someone, they can go through it and see it. And we can tie it into Lexipol as well and throw it in there. So, done a lot of certificates of insurance and all that kind of stuff too going on. So I've been staying busy.
Nice.
Yeah. Anything you guys need me to do or want me to work on?
Can't think of anything right now.
Okay.
How are things going for you?
Going well.
Busy?
But trying to get into a lot of the departments. I've got into a majority of them. There's a couple more. I'm headed to solid waste on Thursday to go review the dump site to look at it for safety and see just what they're doing. Sorry, landfill. I know, I say that wrong, I'll get in trouble. But going to the landfill with them to review it, just because they have some concerns to see with a fresh set of eyes if there's something I can see. But they are the professionals, they're there. So I'll talk to them and see what we can come up with. And if we come up with something, we'll bring it forward to you get the commissioners.
Sweet. Anything else?
Nothing for me.
All right.
Thank you, Blair.
Welcome.
And we will go into recess until 11:15 when we are back for treasurer's office update. Good day. It is 11:15 a.m. We're here for a treasurer's office update with Daryl Pheasant.
So I'm going to be leaving this afternoon, be gone for the week to the Treasurers Conference in Spokane at the Centennial Hotel. So we also have a PAX meeting on Wednesday night for us to ask about all these things that aren't getting fixed. And I heard the assessor's office has a conference somewhere in the state this week too. Last year, we had a combination of a conference with the assessors, and it didn't really work out. It's supposed to save money, and it actually costs more money bringing them in. That's the problem is when you get too big, then the cost of getting food and all that kind of stuff is much harder to have provided.
Well, where's your conference at?
The Centennial Hotel this year.
I don't even know.
I'm not sure where
it's
theirs
in
is at.
Spokane?
In Spokane, yeah, it's across the riverfront, on the north side of the river.
Side of the highway, or the river.
Yeah, this is where
Did it used to be
the Google map says go this route. The route is you go to Division, go up, go past the bridge and take a left and then go dart across. It tried to have you go in the middle of the downtown to
Didn't
get
it used to be Kavanaugh's? Was it
possibly.
No, I think it was,
Red line or something. That
might have been a red line.
Okay. Oh, okay. I see a picture
Or
of
it
it.
was Marriott Park, maybe.
I did forget, the treasurers approved having our legislative meeting next year. The only place that can do it is the Best Western that has the downstairs big enough room. All the other hotels, conference rooms are not big enough.
What about the hotel? I mean, the Big Bend.
Well, you'd have to travel. It's really big inconvenient to continually move people back and forth.
Right.
Now, if there's a hotel built closer to Big Bend, you have that one hotel, but it's still too far away. But keep telling people is you're catering to a much smaller groups with these conference room sizes. The Best Western, we had a couple conferences there, but then they never updated their downstairs, their internet, to bring internet downstairs.
Did they finally update
And they
it?
finally updated it. I talked to the guy within the last year, told him why we couldn't go there, and he told me, oh, yeah, we got those updated. Great, I could have had conferences there all the time because that's a more preferred than the Ellensburg location. So, gonna work on finding a date in July next year for a day-and-a-half conference, middle of the week. Always great times to fill up hotels that are not on weekends,
Right.
to provide them during their slower times. I was pondering, depending on the schedule of the fair, maybe a barbecue at the fair and a tour next year.
For your treasures?
Yeah.
Well, don't offer them space burgers because that was not well received by some of our WASAC.
No.
By our WASAC director. He's like, it was terrible.
I love them, but they're expensive.
You like them or you don't.
That would be
Yeah,
great.
It's a 50-50 thing.
I just,
It's like, are you from Moses Lake, Grant County, or are you not from Moses Lake, Grant County? That's pretty much how you know who likes them.
it's just,
That depends on who's making them too.
That's fair.
mhm. But, yep, so I got that pondering, but I forgot to go pursue it and get the data and available weeks. So I got to do that after this conference this week to get that set down and last time we had a conference, we went clear out to Moses Point for dinner, for a buffet. Figured we could have a caterer at the fairgrounds and provide a rental fee.
Yeah.
Since we have money to spend.
Do that.
And just have a fun tour of all the things. All the things I keep saying don't spend on. That I keep saying where's the return on the money on all these years? That's obviously my consistent theme is the business side of capital expenses.
It's
So,
getting there.
well, we just need to have a lot more events that pay to use the facilities.
Well, it's kind of like parks, Gerald. Parks they do not make money, so.
We're working on that.
I see in the Moses Lake paper an interesting topic. How they're having a hard time finding a police chief, fire chief. And they're talking again about regional fire authorities and all this kind of stuff. I again have heard, the city of Ephrata and the EMS services and all the problems. It's tough in a county this big with population sporadic. It's tough to have economies of scale when it's piecemealed. Keep throwing out the concept, consider a countywide EMS levy where you'd have some economies of scale, be able to provide some services, a better service in some areas that are lacking, and just look at it as a common good for the county. But then in the past, you're waiting for cities to come to you guys. They'd rather complain instead of find a solution that might be something to let the voters decide on. So it's just the same thing with Ephrata. And there talks about how having a hard time finding money for recreation. And I just throw out just what Quincy did, Metropolitan Park and Recreation District. Also read in the paper last week that they're reconsidering the size of their facility and how the walls are going to be. And going back to the drawing board on that. So the one big problem, I don't know if I think I've mentioned is the valuation of the district can only occur so much in non-voted debt. And the non-voted debt is only 20 million. And 20 million is probably not enough for what they thought they could do. But they didn't think of the debt limitation when they went and pushed it to the voters. So now they're trying to.
I think the city of Quincy will take that.
Right, but you cannot, if city of Quincy, you can't have the city of Quincy incur the debt just to the benefit, just to be a surrogate. And have the district pay, so part of this debt, the city has definitely capacity for non-voted debt. So that's why their pool is now out of the equation for this park. Because they were looking at 30 million total of non-voted debt. And that's not available to this district. Now, if they wanted to go to the voters, but that was a problem. So I read that in the newspaper. I'm having a fun time reading newspapers. Firebringer starts this Saturday night for 3 weekends, 11 shows at the Massacres Theater. We got a major blitz of ads last week. So got it in Wenatchee Road. We're only have one investment this week, a purchase. And right now we're at a good mix.
What's the market doing right now?
But, or how's what?
The market They stay in
bouncing up. It's currently in a certain range. It keeps going up. I'm waiting for a bigger up. If it's to make it worthwhile to do anything. If not, then we just sit with the mix we have. Our postcards, first we were told they went out Friday. Well, they didn't go out Friday. We were expecting them to go out this Thursday, this week. And then we got an email because we didn't get any phone calls from anyone. So we found out they're going out today, which means probably people will be getting them tomorrow. And I'm not around to answer the phone calls.
A good day to be gone then, right?
Yes. Mhm. Yep. So hopefully I can turn my bed into a recliner so I could sleep tonight. I'm bringing extra thick pillows, try to create all things. And let's see. Nope, we're filing our certificate of delinquency with the courts today for foreclosure. We're only filing on 64 parcels. Normally, last year was 100. And years before that, more. But our biggest property, we currently have in foreclosure the Freda Collision Center, 2 properties. But we also have McCullers House on Lakeview Golf Course. That's over $50,000 owing right now in property taxes.
Wow.
So we'll see what happens. So
Is his kids take over?
supposedly he has someone that's taking care of his affairs. And it seemed like paying just $15,000 to delay a year, paying just the oldest year should have been simple enough. And it wasn't. So I don't know. But we have that. There's still a lot of construction going on at Lakeview Golf Course, going on for this newer facility. What else do I know in the world out there?
How many of those do you expect will go into the foreclosure process all the way, go out for auction?
I expect it to be redeemed. So,
Yeah, that Lakeview one, Jesus, sell it if you're not gonna pay your stuff.
yeah, I think it has a $1.5 million value for this very wide garages on one end and house, huge wide house. In a way, he's secluded street. It's not it's like a cul-de-sac. So, but that's what's going on. Just gonna have a long weekend. It's supposed to be hot today.
Yeah. Warm today.
So I did some, I'll be bringing it up at the finance meeting. Right now, we still have one more huge refund that we're aware of that we haven't paid out, we're waiting for. But all those other refunds are cashed. And we are over $2.5 million short already in our revenue projections for property tax. And with the gorge schedule, that sounds like about $400,000 short of what I budgeted for.
400 or 4?
400,000.
So we're short 2.5 million in revenue for property tax.
And with the smaller, the less concerts scheduled, probably around 400,000 less on revenue on that. So that's all I have.
2.9 million.
So, gosh, it's hot in here.
It keeps going up.
Well, when it allows fresh air to come in, I think it gets hot, then it cools down, then it gets hot. Well, thank you, Daryl.
All right, thank you very much. Ouch.
Hi, good morning.
We're in trouble.
All right, I took the hot, yeah, we were really angry this morning. So
Really?
I took most of the
We
heat
are
from
not
them.
angry.
They're so, their voices raised and everything.
Really? Okay, they look pretty calm to me. I'm not afraid.
Are we being a little theatrical about
It's a
that?
little dramatic, right?
Start rumors.
Good morning, it's 11:30 a.m. and we are here for a New Hope Kids Hope update with Susie Fody.
Good morning.
Gosh, it is still morning.
It is still morning. It's still Monday morning, and apparently Dotson, or not Dotson, 17.
17 has they just got something on, just pulled it up.
Yeah, we completely changed route and became Dotson. It is, believe it or not, as long as I've lived here, it's the first time I've done Dodson to Ephrata.
Are you serious?
Serious.
Huh.
Is that crazy?
Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah.
It's always nice to take a different route.
Yeah. And
Yeah, you're like, no, it adds a little extra time.
well, the map app said 27 minutes on 17 and 32 for Dodson. Like it's 5 minutes difference according to the map app.
Yeah.
Okay, updates. Relevant program updates. So maybe 2 months ago or so, I shared with you that really ugly spreadsheet where a lot of our federal funds and state funds were being restricted. The governor's budget did add things back in, but we still don't know what the implications of that are. Our funders have not gotten us updated numbers. Just sad that they haven't figured out how to get that done. But the Healing Support and Transition Grant, which you guys might know better by the Trauma Informed Yoga Grant. Remember we did Trauma Informed Yoga and kickboxing with that trial grant? They were cut by 50%, and we were hoping they would just extend it with the current grantees, but they're not. They're going to put it all back out to RFP. So that funding is done June 30. Of course, we'll apply again, but that's a big one. That paid for a full-time therapist and a lot of therapy supplies. So that's kind of scary and sad. Our crime victims grant is competitive. We applied. We should be hearing in the next week or so if we have a contract for July 1. Is that like not even ridiculous to say out loud? It's going to be
Crazy.
mid-June. So they haven't announced the apparently successful bidders yet. They said there were 52 applicants, 37 were funded. So, I mean, I'm really confident. In addition, the limit that they had us apply for was $125,000, which is $100,000 less than the year before. They got money in the governor's budget to add to that, so it'll be more than the 125. But again, I don't know. I don't know how much money I'm getting for that. The CHG grant that the county gets from the state directly, that does look to have way more funds than in the past, and that's a good thing for us. We applied for more to do the work that we do. So that is basically the funding updates. The contract updates are between Rebecca and Barb at the prosecutor's office having civil legal review. They've asked for 3 weeks. So only 2 of my contracts have come through. The rest haven't. There's not like 3 weeks left to get this review done, get it to you guys, get it on a consent agenda, get it approved for July 1 contracts. It's not our fault. And I have let all of our funding sources know at Commerce and DSHS that that process is in existence. I don't know what they're going to do. DSHS is like, it's got to be signed by July 1. Well, you got to get it to me quicker because I don't even have it yet. So anyway, there's that happening. Other program updates are Alice is here today with me. We are meeting with the accounting department to talk about the time and attendance and workflow issues, and then also how to, if July 1's a roll date for the accounting software to go into place, we need updated training, Q&A time. We're really out of the loop on that, so want to get in it, ask the questions, and get our feet dirty on that.
So the time and attendance, that does not kick in until January.
Right, but they wanted to know the workflow, and they
Okay.
wanted, there's Alice. They wanted to know the final approver and secondary approver. And that just seems like it's a complicated answer. If you've got multiple employees who answer to different people in their chain of command, it would be really hard for me to just name one person as a final approver. And I'm thinking across departments, like the sheriff's office, would you have a roads person, just have one, like Joey sign off on everybody? Like, who's the final?
No, I think in the sheriff's office, I think somebody does kind of compile all of it, and she's the one that does the submittal for it. But I think she's kind of taking it from everybody and just compiling it. But
Well, and that's what Alice does for us. She compiles everybody's time cards and gets it entered. But to approve your timesheet should be your supervisor. Right?
I would think.
Yeah.
But
Dang it. That'd be great. Today's the first day I stopped taking my Zyrtec. I thought those cotton woods were gone.
Then we have.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyway, I think it's just worth a little bit more conversation with accounting to figure out that.
Yeah, visit with accounting and just see, because maybe it is, like Alice will be doing the submittal, but after a review, or I don't know. I honestly don't know how it's gonna fall in line.
Okay, so those are my program updates. And facility dog swearing in, I included a flyer. And this is just like a sample. We are willing and ready to change the date and time. You had suggested that I speak with Joey about Chief for a Day and maybe coordinating with them. I don't think it's not gonna work out really well, because we can't screen and know about the Chief for a Day kiddo if they have dog fears or not, or, So, thinking that maybe not my next update date with you, but the one after that, July 7th, that perhaps that could be a good day for swearing in for B. Blair is working with HR to get a little name badge for our little dog, and we just would like for you all to help swear her in. It's a ceremony type thing. And then we would like to do a little reception after. So obviously the swearing in would be here, but we would do a reception somewhere else. So probably just would take up all my update time with you to honor B. Would that be okay?
Sounds like a potty.
Sounds like a pod. Okay. All right, we'll change the time because the flyer does say 4 to 6. It was just a thought, but we'll change that and update the reception part. Okay, here's a fun one. I've been letting you know that we're being accredited by the National Children's Advocacy Association, and that's coming up in October. They have looked through our entire submission, all the paperwork, and one of the things I got hung up on was for my board, which is you all, having background checks in place. So I need to ask you all, and attached there is the Washington State Patrol form. I've got the FBI forms right here. And then the Child Abuse Registry, I just run your name through the website. So there's 3 things we have to do. FBI fingerprints, which is this that I'm handing you. And that's the watch. Yeah, that'd be great. The FBI fingerprints, you go online and make an appointment at the sheriff's office. I don't have control over that. And it's just an appointment for you to run over, get your fingerprints checked.
I already have mine.
Mine are already on file too. You need them just for this, so?
You do? Within the
Yeah.
last 5 years?
Yeah,
Yeah.
concealed weapons permit.
I get my concealed weapons permit.
I think, is that the same?
It'll be on a national registry, so we would be, I don't know for others, but on a national registry for fingerprinting. Once you do that,
Yes, I
You're
have my
unfortunately-
firearms and my concealed permit,
we are in the system.
even with how naughty I am.
I have my concealed weapons permit, but I don't think I could use that.
I think that's a sheriff office.
I thought it was with the FBI, or I don't know what it.
Do you have a piece of paper that says you had that done on a certain date?
Yeah, with
Can
your
you prove
concealed
it?
weapons.
I guess.
Okay.
So in order to have a concealed weapons permit, you have to have your fingerprint.
Okay.
Otherwise,
Okay,
you
so,
don't get
but
it.
you would like us to,
I have to have proof of the fingerprint part. I don't think.
The actual background check to the FBI was what we would have to have the
Yeah.
results of, and then,
so we just need to go get fingerprint.
and then.
Can the
and-
sheriff's office do it for us?
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then do we pay for it, or are you the rest of that? Do we pay for that as well?
Our department would be responsible for paying for that. I can send you with my credit card. I know, it's a pain. I'm sorry.
No, it's.
When I asked
So are
HR,
we the requester? Do you want us to request this, or, okay? we
Just the
fill out
green part.
Just the green
Okay.
piece, yeah.
We fill out the green and hand it to you.
yeah, and that's just
And then on this,
The green.
Is yours not green?
The green
Mine
highlight.
is
you have to
not
walk
green.
us through each.
Here's
It
the
was in
thing.
your packet.
What's this for then?
We have
That's the
two. We
FBI.
have to do a Washington State and then the FBI as well.
There you go. It's happening. Sorry, I just handed that up late.
Well, that would be easy. Caitlin, do you mind calling over in the sheriff's office and asking if
Oops. Already messed up, Susie.
an FBI report is available? I mean, if we all have our concealed weapons permit, if an FBI report is also needed,
Yes, I can give him a call.
we'll have an answer right away and then we'll know how to fill out this form. Thank you, Caitlin. I'm not saying I don't want to fill out the form, but I'm like.
If you already have it done, why not?
Yeah, you've already got it
We're
done.
gonna go on a field trip.
Yeah.
When I asked HR if you had anything in your files,
No, we won't have them here.
yeah.
Do we give this to you too? Or are you gonna give us the,
You're gonna find out if you need it or not. But then you get the fingerprints done,
I think it's been longer than 5 years.
and then your fingerprint
I think we'll
cards.
Get them every 4 or 5 years. Okay.
Okay, the fingerprint cards that you get from the sheriff's office will go with that application, and have to be mailed off to the FBI.
I'm feeling mine out right now. Prisoner number.
You sure you-
Can't
Which
remember. Yeah, which one? Don't know. So that concludes the things I got to bring before you. Do you have any questions for me?
Not right at the moment.
And these fingerprints be scheduled when we're here?
Yes, they sure can.
Oh, burn it.
Cause you hit the wrong time of year for me to be trying to care about setting up a fingerprint check. I'll just avoid you for the next 5 months.
As long as it's before, as long as you have results before October 16th.
Oh, we're good then. I don't know about results.
I need results.
I could get,
Right now, they're quick. They're
They're
getting
being
back to
very
us
quick,
in like a week. But in the past, they've been 2 months or more.
Well, Caitlin will know. If not, we're gonna march right on over there and get it done right now.
I mean, what I need, they want a piece of paper that says you've been cleared. So if all you have is your concealed weapons permit, that's not gonna, that won't suffice.
Actual report.
They want the report.
oh, you can send all this in then.
Yeah, If
App.
you get us all of that, your application and your fingerprints, I can send it in.
Yeah, we can mail it for you. We just need your fingerprint cards attached to that application. And you get them back to me, I'll take care of it.
I just got off the phone with the sheriff's office. They said that the fingerprints for your concealed permits does not count for this. So they asked if the commissioners could just go to the sheriff's office. They will give you guys the fingerprint card for you to then give to Susie, and she will do what she needs to do with that. They said that if you guys could come after 1 p.m., that would be best because they're kind of short-staffed today.
1 p.m.
Okay.
Commissioner work session. 1:45, schedule us up.
I can, you don't have to have an appointment. They said you can just show up and they know.
Okay, so we'll get this.
You're very
At
special.
1:45, we're
Okay,
gonna
I
head
sent
over
it.
there.
Okay, so this is filled out.
Okay,
We'll just do our fingerprint.
attach your fingerprints to that and then maybe put it in an inner office to me.
Okay, we'll have Caitlin do that.
Yep.
Caitlin, can you do that? Finish that portion of it for us?
Ow, my ribs.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll get it done today. On
You
my-
guys rock.
Thank you.
on my- Sorry, I thought I was already in the system.
Anything else for Susan?
I am on vacation at my next scheduled update. Do you want me to cancel or send
Go ahead
somebody?
and cancel it with, let Caitlin
Cancel?
know.
Okay, Caitlin, I won't be here 2 weeks from today. Please
I'll
cancel.
make a note.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Okay, and we'll get our fingerprint.
We will go into recess until the fire marshal arrives for his update.
For lunch.
This meeting will be canceled due to Nathan Poplawski not being in the office. We will be back at 1 p.m. Good afternoon, it is 1 p.m. and we are here for position management review. We have HR in the room with us.
Bill's supposed to be joining us online.
He
There he
did
is.
say he would be. Which position would you like to begin with?
We're gonna start with Dell's. The peer support specialist. Dan, if you would like to take the floor, you're welcome to.
Before I do so, just so I'm not interjecting, I think
Yeah.
Bill's.
Okay, and I know that Mandy is going to be here, so I don't know if we wanna wait a minute or two, or do you prefer to move forward?
Start, go, need her.
Okay.
Caitlin call up there.
Okay. Hello, Dell.
Hi, how are y'all?
Good.
Good.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, you bet. So do you want me to go ahead and get started with the funding and
That'd
program?
be great.
Okay. So the Healthcare Authority received a grant for COSOP. It's COSSUP, which stands for Comprehensive Opioid Stimulant and Substance Use Program. And they have contracted with Carillon to have those funds go to our regional crisis programs. So they are funding us for 3 years for a total of $651,000. And that funding source will fund a peer specialist that specializes in SUD services or has lived experience in recovery to be staffed with our crisis team, and then a DCR, designated crisis responder, that also has the credential for as a substance use professional as well. And so this funding for 3 years would pay for both of those positions. We're running into a little bit of an issue with the DCR position because of the required additional credential. We have to negotiate with the union on how we're going to, what value we're going to place on that additional credential. And so why I said there's a little issue with that is because we're going to get into a compression issue with the supervisor position. And so as we negotiate with the union on what that looks like, so they receive recognition for that credential, we're kind of in this holding pattern. So we are hoping today we are seeking approval to move forward with the peer position, get that posted. Then with the DCR2, we're looking forward for approval contingent on negotiation with the union. And I didn't know if the board would be willing to do that or not, but I thought at least start getting us moving in that direction that once the union approves, then we could go ahead and post a position. Dan, I don't know if you had anything else on top of that.
No, I think you pretty much covered it. That was on the DCR, the compression issue stems from the fact that the band on the DCR is currently at 14 and then the supervisor's at 15. And so to move it to an additional band would put it at the same band as supervisor. So that's what we're trying to figure out creatively how to work through that and what to propose.
Yeah, that's a challenge, because all the supervisors are at 15.
Yeah.
And to move them up to a 60, then you have compression on the clinical manager. And so we're trying to figure out what are some creative ways that we can change that job description and propose that to the union.
Well, and maybe it's a stipend, a certification stipend.
Yeah, we're open to that. We're just trying to reduce that impact.
Yeah.
I'm not asking to raise the supervisor. I'm just trying to think of that compression aspect. And so I don't feel like we can move very much upward, whether that's like $1 more an hour, that may make more sense to me than trying to match it at band 15.
So this position, y'all have received it. They're currently approved for 19 peer support specialists. This request and approval would increase the approved headcount to 20. Additional peer support specialists would provide clientele requiring substance use treatment, imperative and needed support during the treatment plan. And the revised job description incorporates a peer support specialist that would provide SUD support. Additional positions will report to the crisis team. The update to the job description amends the prior area of expertise, as stated below. We're incorporated into the job description and will require a successful candidate to possess lived experience through associated with SUD, substance use disorders. Okay. So it is just one FTE that on this, but Del, you are officially asking for the DCR as well?
Yes.
Tentatively. Okay.
And we're looking for that contingent on the negotiations with the union, how we're going to deal with the increased.
Board, do you have any questions?
Well, okay, so we have a DCR2 that you want approval for, contingent with the union approving the position. And then you have this, which is a peer support specialist with SUD support. What makes this, I guess I've been trying to figure out, and you probably explained it, I missed it. What makes this one a higher level pay than the others?
So the peer support, this isn't. This is the same
Oh,
rate as all the
it's
other,
just
all the
increasing
other
from 19
peers.
to 20. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's just expanding on the current job description so that it incorporates somebody that is a peer support specialist that has lived experience with substance use disorders.
Okay, so it's adding substance.
And
Yeah.
Cindy, on the document, it says proposed wage. It should say current wage in the line below. I just put it at proposed wage because it was a new position.
Should they backwards?
Yeah.
So like, okay. Yeah, I was wondering, how is 13A
Yeah.
more than a 10?
Oh, that's the other one.
Okay. Well, I was
Not there
reading
yet.
Okay.
We're not there yet.
My problem jumping around. Okay.
But to answer your question, Rob, yes, that one as well.
Okay.
It's a Monday morning, or was a Monday morning, so. Okay. Felicity's looking through hers, so.
Sorry, I'm a little bit confused.
Yeah, I have no questions for either. Thank you for clarifying.
Just to create a new position?
Yes.
And then Tracy would,
For that one, there would be, so that one would be, that you're looking at, would revise the current position so that it requires lived experience with substance use disorders. So there's still a peer support specialist is a peer support specialist is a peer support specialist, but it's just that some of them have different areas that they provide support in. This one would be for substance use, but to do that, they have to have lived experience with substance use disorders. Yeah, which is why, to Cora's point, why the rate doesn't, it hasn't changed.
oh,
So what it would entail is on the job description, you guys have a top handout of that too, that revises in blue there, you should see it in blue, with that mine. So those are the different categories of our peer support specialists. So it just expands that.
and then I don't have a payroll account. That is the start of the pay period, right? I'm assuming.
That's a new position, so.
Oh, it's a new position.
New
Oh,
position,
I see.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it looks fine.
And Felicity, I don't see any policy or process issues, but.
Yeah.
There. Okay, well, and Dell, you said you have funds for this, so.
Yep.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, if there's no more questions from anybody, then we'll move on to the next one, and this one will be brought back, these two will be brought back tomorrow.
Great.
Yes, oh, Gina has a question.
So the funds are available for 2028, 2029.
Yes.
What is the payments plan after that funding is done?
That's a good question.
Is there a plan?
Dale, could you hear?
I didn't hear Gina, no.
Sorry.
Hey, if you talk up.
That's okay.
So you mentioned that you have grant funds available through 2029,
2027.
2027?
It's a 3-year grant.
Okay, so what's gonna happen to the position when that grant funding goes away?
That's a great question. Typically, these are pilot projects that you're trying to make sustainable. And so the hope would be that they just become embedded in our programs and we can sustain them in the future. And so as we get closer to that last year, we'll be negotiating with Carillon and keeping that in our regular budget, not as a grant funded program.
So
But there is potential it could go away. Since it's a grant.
So in the creation of the position, are you wanting it to be a project position, which is 2 years, benefited 2 years? So that the person applying for the job understands that this is grant funded, it might go away in 2 years? Or are you gonna advertise it as a permanent position with the hope that you're able to figure out funds after 2027? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense.
Okay.
That's a great question. My preference would be as a permanent position that we hope to negotiate, 'cause I don't see these going away, but there just is that risk. I mean, yeah.
Right. And so my question is for applicants, how transparent do we want to be with an applicant? Project positions are for 2 years. The hope is that you continue it, right?
Yeah. I think we'd have to post it as that to be transparent.
I like that too. Yeah.
Yeah, grant, and I would say grant funded project position, that way.
With the possibility of.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good question. Okay.
Thanks, Del.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you, guys. Have a good afternoon.
You as well. Okay. Next position, HR specialist. I briefly mentioned this last week. Yep, you can go. Briefly brought this up last week that in May of 2023, the previous HR director reclassified a consultant position to an HR specialist with the claim the duties of the position had changed, with the implication that the duties had decreased. This position was moved from band 13 to a band 10. In doing this, the person's wage was froze to the top of band 10 at 3681. So this position has not received a COLA increase or any step increases since. I am proposing that although some of the duties for the position have become more specialized, such in recruiting, onboarding, and managing the county's FMLA and PFML programs, that I need this position to be able to do the full scope of the consultant's work, including some of those specialized items. So I'm requesting that this position be reclassified again back to its original position, which is an HR consultant at band 13, and to be unfrozen. I'm also requesting that the employee in the position receive the step increase to band 13, step 7, which would have been her natural progression if the position would not have been reclassified 2 years ago. You'll see on page 3, I have a printout of the 3 years where she's been frozen, the wage rate she's been frozen at, and where natural progression she would be at as of today, the 4126. She did just have her annual review, so just last month in May, mid-May. And Cindy, you weren't here, so I talked to the board, asked that question last week about if, particularly Rob, since he was the one that may have been here when that position was frozen.
And I do call this discussion, I think probably would be better to discuss it in maybe your update.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
or we could talk about it, I guess, in executive session, but
Okay.
bring your update tomorrow.
Either way, we're gonna talk about it tomorrow to get an answer, but if we need more, if you guys want time to think about it, we could do it now. Go into executive session.
We can for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
If that's okay with everybody here.
Five minutes. All right, we'll go into executive session for 5 minutes, starting at 1:16, coming out at 1:21 p.m. for job applicant / evaluation, RCW 42.30.1101G. It is 1:21 and we are out of executive session.
Okay, thank you for those few minutes. And again, we will bring this one back tomorrow for board's decision, or table it if you need more time or have other questions tomorrow. And that's what we have for you today. Anybody have anything for us?
No.
Okay,
No, he's free
well,
to go.
thank you.
We will go into recess
Before you do that, if I may
until,
inquire, sorry, not for you guys.
Oh.
The board, on your agenda this morning, you had a topic that you did not discuss, and it's regarding positions at the health district. So Caitlin is, she put that on the agenda for you guys to talk about. Emails from Teresa that you've seen about how the board makeup is. Can you take a peek at what is needed for that? So we can get back to Teresa.
You're talking about the one that left and refilling that position.
Correct. Caitlin, are you on right now?
It has to be user service.
I am here.
If you want to give a brief synopsis.
Does HR, I mean, HR can stay if they want.
Do you need us for anything? No? Okay.
I mean, you're more than welcome
I'll
to stay,
refill
but
the
you probably
candy.
have.
Refill the candy bowl.
Bring it back.
I'm sorry, I jumped back right when you said, are you on? I was helping someone. Is this the Board of Health thing?
Yes.
Yes. So, I'm not sure how much I can say. It's regarding that email that you all received from Rebecca about the Board of Health appointments and vacancies process, I understand that some further discussion was desired by Commissioner Burgess and Jones. Specifically, if we were to share Rebecca's response with the Board of Health, we would be waiving the attorney-client privilege. So I can re-forward the email from Rebecca, so that way it's fresh in your guys' inbox. But if you wanted to discuss it without waiving the attorney-client privilege, you would need to go into executive session for it. I'm sending it to you guys right now.
Is it the one on 6.3? I'm looking at it right now.
Yes. And then the original email that they're referencing is also in that thread.
So we need to find somebody that takes that other gal's place, that does the same type of thing. That's my.
It'll have to be that board seat. I'm trying to figure out what, I think it has to be a user of public health. Consumer of public health. Or was it community stakeholders? I can't remember what we were feeling.
It's the consumer of public health.
Yeah, so we need to find somebody else that's in that.
So when I'm talking, when they're talking about public health, they also, not only do they do public health, but they do restaurant inspections and septic. So would that also, this is my question, where public health is just a small component of it. If you're literally talking about the health of it, they get the revenue from restaurant inspections and septic inspections. So it really is like three parts to what they do at the health district, among other things, disease control and stuff. But the consumer of public health, I'm assuming that would be any service that the health district provides listed under public health.
I don't quite
Because it's really like.
understand it in that same way. I get what you're saying, like a surface of that, but I would think it would be a user of public health. All the different services, not just one small piece.
Public health, healthcare facilities and providers is one, and B is consumer of public health, and C, other community stakeholders.
So what did the gal that's leaving this position, what did she do?
I don't know what they do. We typically just get the recommendations of appointment from the Board of Health. That's for the commissioners. When it comes to the actual like advertising and soliciting of board members, they are usually the ones, I believe, that handle it. I think the last time we did an appointment, it was for an alternate member. And I believe that the Board of Health did all of the recruitment on their own.
Okay, so the seat we're filling is one who has self-identified as having faced significant health inequities or having lived experiences with public health related programs such as special supplemental nutrition program for women, infants, children, the nutritional program, healthcare facility. So it is somebody. And seat number 7, the member representing the community stakeholders, that would be the environmental, public health, or business. Okay, so it's somebody who is identified as having faced significant health inequities or having lived experience with public health related programs.
So the main question that I had for the commissioners was, in her original email, Teresa Atkinson had asked a few questions about adding seats and the process for filling vacancies. And Rebecca replied to the commissioners, but we cannot share Rebecca's reply with Teresa Atkinson without waiving the attorney-client privilege. So I wanted to ask the commissioners if, I know Cindy and Kevin, you guys attend the Board of Health meetings. If you want to discuss this with her during the next meeting, then that would be great. Or if the commissioners were wanting me to respond to Teresa Atkinson and just tell her what Rebecca said. She did say that she doesn't have any qualms with waiving the attorney-client privilege, but that sharing it would waive it. So it would be the commissioner's call.
Fine, I will step down so there's an equal amount. It'd probably go faster too. Probably not, because I try to really flip those meetings. Keep moving. Kevin, I do. That's my goal, is to keep them under 2-3 hours.
Yeah, they get long.
For really no reason. No great reason. Because they have 2 elected officials, 2 commissioners, a city. Gotta be balanced out, and that has to be somebody tribal. Railed on the question where it was really supposed to be. So to answer Teresa's questions, whether the BOC and BOCC had the authority to add a seat outside the required categories defined in statute. That's no. If adding a new non-elected seat would require us to also add an elected, yes, we would have to. It has to be a balance.
Right, and now they put Megan in there, Megan Diamond. She was the alternate.
So she can fill that spot, and then we can still advertise for 30 days. Just leave it or advertise for 30 days. Or have them advertise.
So we just need to advertise for 30 days and try to get somebody from consumer and public health. That position. So she just wanted to know if we want her to put an advertisement out for that position, that vacant position.
Yep. Or fill it with the alternate in the time being.
I think the main question too was if you wanted her to share Rebecca's email with Teresa, are you given the authority to share the legal confidentiality, waive attorney-client privilege? Do you guys say no to that or yes to that?
I never want to waive our confidentiality.
None of this will then be shared with the health district. So whatever the board would like to do.
I think we need to advertise to fill that position. That's my opinion.
Which say we're good with, they're just, if we wanted to add another seat, is she was waiting on, isn't it?
We definitely don't want to add another seat.
Just have a bigger
You get too
quorum.
You get too many people
If we
in.
do anything, like I said, we could get rid of one county commissioner and one, because they have to be balanced, like when you elected, it's good to have a county.
So if we had,
I think we have 7. Do we have 7 right now? 7 seats.
Probably is the spreadsheet. I think
If we do anything, we get rid of, it's a quorum for us.
You have 8 seats currently.
8.
Yes.
Okay, maintain 8. Because we did add one more seat, it has to be balanced with an elected official, a public and elected official.
The main question from Teresa was if they were required to advertise and fill the open seat, or if the alternate can just serve out the remainder of the term. So that was Rebecca's response to Teresa. And then she was also asking about the additional seats.
what's the remainder of her term, do you know?
It's through December 31st of 2026.
I think we should advertise.
Probably.
An alternate, though, that qualifies for the position that's already been approved by the board. I mean, I understand advertising the
Was it an
backfill.
alternate? Was it an alternate
Yeah.
approved?
Yeah.
Because you.
I mean, I got, but at the same time, you could allow it to be hers to sit there until the position is filled as the alternate.
Yeah, it said that can happen.
We do also need to make an amendment to the resolution that formed the Board of Health. There was an update in 2021 to one of the RCWs. So there is a section, that first bit that Rebecca talks about, there is a section that is worded incorrectly. So if the commissioners did want to change the makeup of the board, we could do that all at once as like one update to the resolution. But no matter what, we are going to have to do an update. So that way the wording is correct to the RCW.
Right. So So they're waiting for us to make a decision on what you want us to do? Is that what Teresa's waiting on?
Yes, yeah. Teresa is waiting on the response about the additions, like the additional seats, and also whether or not she needs to advertise for the primary consumer public health position, or if Megan Diamond can fill that seat for the remainder of the term and then just advertise for an alternate. So would the commissioners like me to send her that response, or Kevin and Cindy, do you want to talk to her about it at the Board of Health meeting?
Probably be better if we just call it sooner.
Yeah, I think it'd be better if we made a decision and then she could have it on the agenda for the next meeting.
The next meeting is tomorrow.
Wednesday.
Sorry.
I'll speed up the week.
I know, I'm like, wait. Okay,
Monday.
so, no new seats,
Yeah, I agree.
and then, so for 30 days or whatever to appoint
I think we should advertise, and if we don't get
the
anybody,
alternate for, and then advertise, and then for the remainder of the term. So the alternate can be appointed for while seeking a new position.
a replacement for the vacated seat. Is that what you're thinking?
Mhm. So no new seats added. Appoint the alternate to fill that position. I'm just making sure this is what we're all thinking. And advertise for the new position, a replacement, whether that's going to be the alternate or a new person. And then that person would fill out the term, the remainder of the term, 25 and 26.
I would agree with that.
Are you in agreement?
Yeah, I
with that?
support you guys.
Okay.
And then do you want me to send that email?
Yes, please.
I will do that,
But not on Wednesday.
but not on Wednesday. I will do it today.
I'm totally fine getting rid of an elected official so we can get that board a little smaller, a little faster. I don't know. It's not me. I'm the reason those meetings are shorter. But I am not alone in my request. Employees would love to have it shortened as well.
Everybody.
Up with nonsense.
Anything else? Do you have any items for the work session?
Our fingerprints taken, huh?
Oh, we're not quite in our.
I only have
session.
4 minutes.
Put your fingerprints and I'll go I need to get emergency management for sure. And tomorrow in Public Works, we will address a lot of the complaints for the driveways, I hope.
We have new stuff though now.
Yeah, we definitely have some new stuff. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I asked who sent it. He said that the owner of the company requested the address to be changed. So I asked who got that email and how the decisions get made. You know, from xyz@gmail.com. Somebody's just following the agenda and seeing that it was approved and now requests the address change, and then we mailed it to wherever in Florida.
Where is Sunrise? Is that up on the hill?
For the youth center?
No.
Yeah,
Do we have anything to do with Sunrise?
no. St. Petersburg, Florida. It's the Keys.
Apartment 105. Owns a construction company and lives in an apartment.
Well, in the Keys, I mean, probably quite a few guys. But Yeah, I asked who sent it and
And then you got Marino and Nelson Construction Corporation, but the check's made out to Nelson Construction Corporation.
yeah. That could have been added on, huh?
Renton, Florida.
How big were the others?
412.
Oh, that's good that they didn't catch that one, huh? 412, that would have been a rough one.
Out of the hit. Bank.
Still want to know who got the email and who changed them. Haven't heard that yet. Errors like that just don't possible. But guess we'll hear more tomorrow. So nothing for the work session?
Nope, other than getting our fingerprints done.
Anything, Barb?
No, sir.
All right, and we will go into recess for today at 1:45 p.m.